See me, yeah. I have no interest in wasting time. Another thing you need to know about me is what's that got to do with time.
Do you not spend time
Another
together?
thing you need to know about me is this whole soft life thing. A very overused term, but one that I fully subscribe to. Why would I not have YouTube Premium when it costs £11 a month to make my life considerably
quite a lot of
because
pounds.
you're paying a
considerably
company.
easier?
You're paying a company.
I do not
to
care
remove to
if
stop
they
harassing you.
created the problem.
You're
Friend, you are
you're a
explaining
victim of bullying.
capitalism to
You're a
me.
victim of bullying.
You're explaining capitalism
It's
to
like-
me.
it's
It's not
like-
just about the ads now.
No, this is a shakedown, though. Are we recording this? Because we should be recording this. This is a straight up shakedown in terms of you're a laundromat and a couple gangsters come into your place and start throwing stuff around, break a couple windows, and they'll be like, oof. Wouldn't it be a shame if somebody came back every month and did this?
Correct.
But if you pay me £11 a month, maybe I won't do this.
Correct. What you are is a victim.
Yeah,
You are.
you're a
You are.
victim.
You are Pavlov's dog in the YouTube context, and you've been fleeced for your Queen's ready and change for the privilege of not seeing
Adverts made
good
by
adverts.
YouTube.
Sometimes they're quite funny.
Sometimes they are.
Sometimes they're quite funny.
Sometimes
you
they
know?
are. But I tell you my way of saving time. I watch everything in double speed. Everything on YouTube I watch in double
If you
speed.
do that, are the adverts in double speed?
So I got somebody who watches
okay.
everything in double speed chatting shit to me about my YouTube Premium.
That's just because my brain works faster than
I've got,
yours.
this,
And what?
I've got this
And what?
motherfucker who spends endless amounts of cash on nonsense, and we're gonna get into we're gonna get into the way this guy spends his money very soon.
This fake news.
No. We're gonna get into the way you
news.
spend your money, and we're talking throw your money away. You're talking to me about a little £12 a month, a little couple of pints in your world. How much is a fucking ticket to go and watch Tottenham cost? You go and see them lose most weeks.
You know
is
the
that, not,
adverts-
is that not a waste of your
Sorry,
money?
You know the
teams-
adverts are like 6 seconds, so you're paying like £11 a month to save
For a
like
combined,
30
like-
seconds.
No, that's not
Like
true.
2.5
That's not
minutes
true.
a month.
If we're gonna talk real,
Do you value your time that highly? 2.5
why are you man
minutes
lying
of
to
your
the
work
people?
is worth
Why are you
11
man lying
quid.
to the people? I will have this conversation with you if you stop lying to the people.
Okay, let's do it.
Talk then.
Because sometimes you will be hit with a double ad
Yeah,
at the
then
start
you-
of it.
you
Can you
can skip the
let
second
me
one.
land?
Go.
Can you let me land? Sometimes you'll be
Gonna
hit
land
with
in the water.
You'll be hit with 2 ads at the start of the thing, and then you'll see you'll scroll over the timeline of your YouTube video, and you'll see each and every advert point in your long 2-hour-long video, and it will be at 0.5 minutes. It will be at 0.8 minutes. It will be at 0.15 minutes.
Can I skip this?
It will be at 25 minutes.
I would pay £11 a
put this on
month.
double
I'll pay
speed.
£11 a month to not listen to this.
I want to put this on double speed.
And you brokies. Also, what you are able to achieve with YouTube Premium is the ability to offline download. Your YouTube experience ends when you get on the public transport or when you go under tunnels. Mine does not,
do
sir.
you not have like
S
Wi-Fi on underground?
Innit?
When's the last time you went on the underground?
Elizabeth Line, thanks for coming.
You get Wi-Fi when you get to the stations.
Yeah, and the
Me,
buffering
I've
lasts
already,
long enough to get
I've
to the
already
next station.
prepared for my day. I've downloaded my content, and it is unadulterated,
Do you-
uninterrupted.
See, everything you said,
enjoyment.
everything you said about the ads. Yeah, did you know if you just watch half of the first ad, then press refresh, the ad disappears, and you can just watch it?
But why would I do that?
Because I
Save
don't want to watch
£11 a
that,
month.
and I also don't want to pay £11 a month.
Exactly. Not
Guys,
to, not
I don't
to
want to pay.
YouTube,
I don't
of
want
all
to pay a
people.
company.
Respectfully,
I don't want to pay a
respectfully.
company to stop bullying me.
Respectfully, I appreciate
Facts.
I appreciate your concerns, but unless you are depositing my paycheck in my account every month, unless you are holding up my cock when I go to the pisser, you can please mind your own
I
business.
mean, Rude Boy, you know what? Like YouTube at
Just
this point
mind
are just
your
digging
own
it, just
business.
digging in your pockets. So
No.
like, yo,
Yeah,
what have you
yeah.
got for me?
YouTube's
fam?
coming
What have
Vaseline
you got
free.
for me, fam?
They've
What
got
you want to watch
you-
this video?
got you over.
You like this video? Yeah, you don't want me
Yeah.
to stand in your way. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool. Let me get some of that. Fam.
Trying to get in,
yeah.
yeah? Is that what it is?
I'm enjoying it.
That's why I'm an Audible supremacist, $7.99 a month, and it's
Audible,
all offline
boom, boom.
anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Extra credits.
And
$8.99.
Amazon Prime. I will
Yes.
pay for Amazon Prime.
Yes.
That is worth it.
Saves my ass
That is worth it.
every Christmas without fail.
And then I also,
Clutch.
when I stream on Twitch, I get them free Amazon Prime. So
Calm
digging
on.
in Jeff Bezos' pocket,
Calm
getting that
on.
back.
Yes.
You man get no pussy.
Listen, someone
What?
gave me
You man get no pussy.
£420
Listen to how you're talking.
£69, $420.69 on Twitch.
Look, if
I don't know
2021
what that
playing
means.
games.
I don't know what that means.
Someone donated £420.69 on Twitch to me for playing games. $420.69. Funny
Boom.
numbers.
and
Funny
you're still
numbers.
broke, and you still don't have YouTube Premium.
Look, if 2020
Broke about
and
what?
2021 taught us anything, is that bitches be loving books. So I would suggest you redivert that.
We call them
that
powerful. We call them powerful, high quality black women on this podcast, John.
Worldly.
not bitches.
Worldly.
I wasn't necessarily
man are
aiming at a
local,
particular demographic.
Some man are global.
That's fine.
Don't bite.
That's fine.
We are here to pod today. This
Good.
Owaru. Kore wa hidoku owaru kanosei ga arimasu.
Hi.
What does that mean?
This could end terribly.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
What do you mean?
That's not my intro.
We did it in Spanish. Why
No,
can't we
no,
do it
no.
in...
That's
When did we do it in
racist.
Spanish?
Eso puede acabar
racist.
terriblemente. We did it on the first episode.
Racist.
Anti-Asian invective. Not his first minority demographic to be attacked.
This
Good.
Owaru.
Episode 48. How do you say 48 in Japanese?
48. 48.
How do we know if that's true?
48回。
How do we
これは
know
ひ
if
どく終わ
that's...
る可能性があります。
What does that mean?
This
so,
could
so.
end terribly.
Hi.
はいはい。
Hi.
Gonna get you 0 buns. Shout out to our YouTube listeners.
Yes.
Our SoundCloud listeners.
Yes.
Our Apple Podcast listeners.
Yes.
Our Amazon Prime listeners.
Yes.
And our Spotify listeners.
Yes.
We are back, baby. Appreciate your patience. Man had to go and have a holiday, innit? Didn't think I was actually going to be able to go on holiday. So kind of had to hit you with that announcement that we didn't have an episode coming in a couple of weeks. Pretty last minute. But we appreciate your patience.
Did we even know that you were going at the time we made the announcement? Was it even confirmed in times? We're still waiting to find out. Just took a punt.
Yeah. So when I realized I was going on holiday, we had recorded 47.
Yeah.
But we thought I wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
So we didn't think
was like a
recording
hedge
this
option.
would be a problem.
Yeah.
But I got out,
It's in your bus case.
man, topped up the Wesley Snipes
Some man alone.
complexion.
Yes. Yes.
I was looking so beautiful out there.
You think?
Yeah, there's a lot of jarring content. There's a lot of
No,
jarring
my content was actually pretty well received. Actually.
by who?
By most.
By the pro dad bod
By
community.
more people. This is not a dad bod. Stop
It's the easiest buy.
lying
It's the easiest
to the
buy.
fans. This Kid and Terribly, episode 48. You are here with a man like Abiade, that's me, a man like Johnny Vivas.
Hello.
We have a special guest
Very special.
this week. Not quite sure why we haven't had him on the podcast before this point.
Pero aquí estamos.
There's actually quite a few reasons why. Don't actually like him. But love him. So, kind of stuck in the middle there. We have the very well known and very well loved
Yes.
rapper, manga author. What was the other one you said?
You know what it was.
Shit, I forgot. My intros are bad.
Jesus.
What was the other one? Rapper, manga author. Ninja! That was
like the first one.
Yeah, he's a ninja as well. Man like Shaudo!
Jeez. Welcome.
Welcome,
you.
Mr.
Thank
Shaudo.
you.
Shaudo. We're
you
going to go
for
through all these. I mean, it's like fucking Diddy Love. It's this guy. He just changes his name whenever he feels like it. It's you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the pod.
Like a
man.
young prince.
Variations of the exact same name.
Range is
What are you
important.
saying, man? Welcome to the pod. How
Yeah.
are you?
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the home of grime.
Yeah, Bowie 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I might
you
film
say
like
that every time.
a diss track for someone around here.
Yeah, he did.
Can
Outside
you
your door.
can you pen another one for Rich?
No. The one
you
for
please?
Wiley was enough.
Oh, you wrote this track for Wiley?
Yeah.
Yalla, you're welcome to Rosh Hashanah.
It was actually quite a weird relationship that they had because it
Yeah.
started with like Wiley out of nowhere name dropping him in a lyric.
Okay.
And then them having this back and forth, correct me if I'm wrong, about working together and then Wiley being Wiley.
Can we not have this? Can we have the
And-
story from the source? Is that possible, Rich?
I mean,
Is that allowed?
I didn't
It
think
was-
I didn't think he really wanted to talk about it.
It was.
So I was gonna.
It's literally just Wiley being Wiley. Like I'm a fan of the brother, but it's just.
Oh,
Wiley.
you were right with him being a fan because he's Jewish.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's.
We're gonna let him land.
His outbursts are ridiculous. I don't think.
To who,
I'd
though?
like to hope.
To who?
Let me finish.
To who? No, but who are they outrageous to though? Because
Well, not Johnny specifically. To the whole Jewish community.
I thought they were.
To the whole Jewish community as well as other people. But I don't believe he's anti-Semitic. I think he's a flipping idiot when it comes to saying certain things. I think that he jumps on social media and speaks before he thinks about it. I think that he had some very bad experiences with people who happen to be Jewish and then decided to
He
take it out-
conflated.
Let me finish. And then happened
Is he
to
gonna
take
do
it
that the
out
whole
on the Jewish
time?
community.
Just let him finish.
To happen to take it out on the Jewish community, which if we compare that to somebody having a bad experience with a black guy and taking it out on the whole black community, unacceptable. It's not good enough. So there's no excuse for that. But I don't believe he's anti-Semitic. I just think he's a flipping idiot sometimes.
All right, so Shadow's got his Jewish fans taken care of with that fucking long speech of bullshit. Yeah. Anybody else you want to pander to?
I
Who else is widely?
No, actually,
Who else is widely
I'll tell you
offended
who
that
I
you
do-
want to ride for?
I tell you who I do want to pander to. I really want to hang out with some Orthodox Jews. You know when you go to North London, you just see the Hasidic Jews.
He's overdoing it.
The
now.
Stanford Hillbillies.
He's
No,
no one has ever said I want to hang out with Orthodox Jews.
But I
he's
do-
he's
no,
overdoing it.
I genuinely do because I've never spoken to one of those people in my life, and I want to just to see what they
Yeah.
would say.
Uncultured
I don't know if they'd
swine.
run.
What's your Yiddish like?
Non-existent.
Yeah.
But then people tend to run from me anyway. When I was in Japan, I spoke to a Japanese girl in Japanese because she was wearing a Wu-Tang t-shirt and asked her if she likes hip-hop, and she ran away from me. So, you know.
Did you ask it in Japan? Yeah, you
I
asked
did,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I imagine you'd get a similar reaction to the Hasidim.
That's
in
what I
Stanford Hill.
expect, but
yeah.
I'd like to try.
Yeah, it's
you know.
worth a go. We can
Did
hang
you
out at Stanford Hill.
go up to her and say cash rules everything around me in Japanese?
No.
How would you say that in Japanese?
I hold on.
The mask is slipping. Fake Japanese.
Ain't no such thing as halfway
No, I don't know.
linguists.
I don't know rules. I don't know rules.
That's Mob Deep, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know
That
rules.
was the joke. That was the
You
joke.
can't say that every single time you say some shit.
You get away with it.
So how have you been, Johnny?
Oh, what is life, Richard? What is life? No, I've been good actually. I've been all right. I had a staycation whilst you were.
Yeah,
whilst
we
you
saw,
were,
we saw.
Whilst you were not concerned about such tariffs as flights and accommodation, as previously discussed with your abundance of disposable income in the context of YouTube Premium.
Mama,
I
I
was
made it.
saving money and supporting Britain's economy at this ailing time
Mama, I made
by staycationing, which is quite enjoyable.
The Ned.
Well, I wasn't at the Ned. I was
No, it was at the Ned.
Sorry, where do we define at as? Because I wasn't staying at the Ned.
Multiple days consecutively posting from
Okay.
the same rooftop
Sure.
at the Ned.
Sure.
I
so
don't know
you.
what the Ned is.
So
It's a members only club
don't worry
in the
about it.
city of
so
London.
you get the tube to work every day.
Right.
Do you work for TFL?
I'm sorry?
You get the tube every day. Do you work for TFL?
No, I don't work for TFL, but
Right.
I'm not
You
sure.
should, to be fair. They
Should
pay
to be
what
fair,
they pay good
yeah,
money.
you'd have 11%.
And you
Shout
wouldn't
out the
even have to
unions.
go to work.
Yeah,
most
facts.
of the time.
Amen. As none
This
of us should
myth
have to.
that
'cause-
all of the people who work for TFL are big earners is exactly why the
Oh, we
unions.
just said big earners.
60K to drive a train.
Yeah,
That's-
that's not.
yeah,
the people that are
different union.
fighting
It's different
for
unions, Aslan.
unions' rights are not the ones who are earning that dollar.
Correct.
But it
It's
better
the
not
people
be.
who are earning shitter dollar. Please continue.
RMT people. Anyway,
But hold on a side note, why do I have to suffer because you're not making enough money? Like,
Wow. So he is pro-Jewish, anti-union.
not anti-union, I'm anti-dickhead. Like, I'm also anti the people who glue their faces to the motorway.
I'm just,
You've got a
the
problem-
reason
you've
why I
got-
said pro-Jew, anti-union, and I know there's going to be more controversy when we get onto
Of
Andrew
course.
Tate later, pro-narcissistic male dickheads. I'm really curious to see how this
yeah.
dynamic
I don't like you that
works.
much.
And I'm pointing at, I mean, look, there's a bit of Tate in all of us.
Jesus.
I'm joking.
Wow.
Jesus.
I'm joking.
I mean, I didn't.
I'm
I
joking,
was.
man.
I was unaware that you'd invited Shinzo Abe onto the podcast.
Well,
but
look,
now
Isn't
we're
that
here.
the guy who got shot?
Yeah.
and killed?
He's the guy who got fucking domed
That
with a
might be a
Pringles
bit too
can.
soon.
It
Was that not a bad-
fucking
That might be a bit-
jokes?
Is this
bruv.
where I say, Johnny, that was a shit joke, and you're like, well, that was the joke? 'Cause
No, he got domed. He
Cool.
got fucking beamed by a dude with a drain pipe. It was bleak.
we saw it.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
mad.
And then you said I brought him to this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
is that another good one? Cool. Carry
Oh,
on. carry
God,
on.
yeah,
I like
anyway,
you,
so-
I like
so
you
I-
better with Ray
so
and
as you
Nephew.
were-
By the way, Johnny's just sipping on some B-Tech Ribena at the moment and
First,
water.
whoa. Okay, that is the worst chat you come
that
out with.
Vimto?
This is Vimto.
Yeah.
There's a reason I'm drinking
B-Tech
Vimto.
Ribena.
There's a reason I'm drinking Vimto. Shout out to all the brothers who've ever done Ramadan. You'll know why I'm drinking Vimto when I explain the following story. I am currently on a suicide mission to lose a stone in a month.
I'm not sure Vimto's going to help you.
You see, that's where you're wrong, because what it is high sugar, relatively low calorie for the amount of energy that you get from it. And what it means is
Why?
that you don't have to eat too much food.
Why are you
But
doing this?
Why, firstly?
Why indeed? Why
Poor woman.
indeed? This is a story all
All
about,
about how I
wow, the male ego, my own ego, my inability to back down from a challenge.
This is like a really Johnny-esque Venn diagram. Carry
Yeah,
on.
yeah. The infantile nature of a trading floor,
Yep.
kind of all conflated into one.
That's your
so
Venn. That's your Venn, baby.
that my Venn diagram is a circle. So what happened was some people decided to take upon themselves to talk shit about my physical appearance after I'd had a large burrito for lunch.
They call you Tubby T.
They called me, I was wearing.
what? No,
that's,
bling,
that's
bling.
sexual harassment. To be fair, you could.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could.
Thank you.
Sell the
100%.
Is it sexual harassment if it's like men,
Well,
like
he
macho
could be,
men?
He could be gay.
Yeah,
He could be gay.
for the bag.
But if they know he's not gay,
But how do you know that?
How do you know that?
Yeah, innit?
I
had a Damascene
they
conversion
work
to
with
dick
him
yesterday.
a lot.
What's up?
and
Don't assume somebody's gender.
I'm not
Facts.
assuming. I just merely asked a question. And if
No, you
you
didn't.
guys
You made a statement.
No, I asked a question. And I said, "What if they're men?" That was my question.
Do
But
you-
you guys,
do
you
you
guys are
find-
no. You guys are obsessed with jumping. I'm letting you know my gun is slowly coming out, and I'm coming
Why is
for
it
you
pointing
both.
at me? Why is
It's coming for you both? No, you guys carry on. I like
Sounds
this little
sexual
dynamic.
harassment as well.
Also-
Do you use MyFitnessPal?
I downloaded it yesterday.
Okay, because what I was going to say is that I'm not sure high fructose diets is the best way. It's normally just lower calories based on your
Entirely
your
hear you,
maintenance.
and you are entirely right. But now that I'm going on a long gap between eating a low calorie lunch and
Can
a
you
low
explain
calorie
why
dinner,
you're
I
doing
would
it,
be
please?
brass for this
Can
recording.
you
Anyway,
explain why you're doing it?
what happened was they were making appearances, comments about my appearance, and I decided to ask them to put their money where their mouth is. I currently
What
weigh
were they
some-
saying about your appearance?
Oh, they were just saying I'm a bit tubby, and I was like, "Well, I've lost quite a lot of weight, so I'm not that fat." Do you know what I mean? I might have had a big burrito, so my stomach's bloated, but
Were they
like I'm in
skinny?
decent nick at the
Are they
moment.
skinny guys?
One is quite tubby. You should
So
be
you
talking
allow
shit.
some rotund guys to get in your head?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mazza.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're going to make some money out of it.
Well, so this is it, right? So I'm currently 86 kilos, and I said that I would get down to light heavyweight, which is 170, so I'm about 190 pounds.
We need to do this in kilograms, otherwise it makes no.
Right, can you Google quickly what 176 pounds is in kilos? Basically, I need to lose 6 kilos in 5
Okay,
weeks.
Google, what's 176 pounds in
Oh my
kilos?
god, is he really doing Siri?
It's Google.
It's Google.
He said it.
Okay, Google, what's 176
Didn't
pounds
even
in
work
kilograms?
first time.
It's because you were talking.
176 pounds is equal to 79.832 kilograms.
Spot on. So I need to get from
That's actually what
86.
I weigh.
I need to get from 86 to there
Yeah.
by the 30th of September.
30th of September.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
mean,
be tough.
that doesn't sound healthy.
No, it's not healthy. So there is just about a healthy way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked out my metabolic rate is about 1,800 calories a day.
Okay.
So I need to shave off. I'm going to eat under 1,400 a day.
That's painful.
It is painful. I'm already feeling the pain. And then combined with exercise, I've been told by 2 different PTs.
I mean, I can't condone this.
No, don't do this. It's fucking shit. But I've been told by 2 PTs that 1,300 calories equals a pound of fat, right? So if I can get to 750 calories a day between under eating my metabolic rate and exercise, then every 2 days I lose a pound of fat. I've got 26
What
days to get
happens
there.
if you lose?
I'm 400 pound in a hole.
And you get £400 for this.
Yes.
I mean, I don't feel like it's worth it for a month and a half worth of like pain.
So what I'm
But-
going to do is I'm going to do it in 2 weeks.
Okay. Do you?
So as soon as you hit the
do you know
target,
about
you get the
intermittent
payout.
fasting?
Yes, I do know about intermittent fasting.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
So I don't eat till like 3 p.m.
Yeah,
most days.
that's very late for me. I couldn't do that. During lockdown, I did it
Why
till
do you
about 11
why do you
a.m. to 6 p.m.
intermittently fast?
Because I watched a YouTube video and it had ads on it, and
Sounds awful.
I watched. No, there was some interesting scientific information about intermittently fasting.
From YouTube.
Yeah, from
Like,
a doctor
carry on.
on YouTube.
Okay.
Who made a video on YouTube, which is where a lot of videos tend to end up.
Cool.
Who suggested
Just a
that
guy who called himself a doctor who recorded a video, yeah?
Well,
Carry
I mean,
on. No, no,
it's
you carry on, you
corroborated
carry on.
by
Can you
scientific
let our
information.
guest speak, please, Richard?
How many times are you motherfuckers going to say, let him speak?
I'm the
Don't forget who the
guest, by the way.
fucking moderator is, motherfucker.
Guest,
yeah?
by the way.
Don't tell... allow it. Carry on.
So yeah, anyway, apparently there's scientific information backed up by studies to say that intermittent fasting is actually very good for your body.
Yep.
And a 48-hour fast apparently puts you into I don't want to say this wrong, but I think it's autophagy or autophagy, where your old cells start to break down and what's the word I want? Repair themselves. So your body actually actively repairs itself after about 48 hours worth of fasting.
Yeah.
Now, I've done a 24-hour fast just for the hell of it, and I managed to do that. I want to do a 48-hour fast. I don't know if I can manage it. But essentially, the idea behind intermittent fasting is that the longer you delay eating, the less you're likely to eat in a day.
Yeah.
But then you can still eat the food that you want to eat and enjoy it. Because I like to eat. I
Yeah.
like food, but
Yeah.
I also don't want to get fat. So
Yeah. So I lost 1.5 stone in
Pussy ass metabolism is
in
all I'm hearing.
2021.
Pussy ass metabolism is
Will
all
you
I'm
shut
fucking
up?
hearing. Hang on a second. When I go to bed for my average 6 to 7 hours a night, isn't that where the repairing takes place anyway?
Not
Why do
entirely.
Why do I need to fast for 48 hours for
I mean,
there
to
to
be
be?
fair, you look like you
is it
need
like
to
a
eat some food.
Sorry,
Facts.
I look like what?
You need to
need
eat
to
some
eat.
food. You look hungry.
Yeah. Emaciated.
Do I?
Yeah.
I mean, I could donate $11.99 to you. At this
Yeah. I would probably
You man
sign
are
up
gonna
for
need
that.
to
Get
come
some
at me.
steak.
You man are gonna need to come at me a bit better with these jokes, because I weigh more than both of you. My body better than both of you.
That's literally
my
just your
body's
bones,
better than
because
both of
you're-
you. If we want to get down
Height
butt
privilege,
naked
that's
right
all it
now
is.
and put a vote to the people, we can
This
do
is
it.
not that kind of
I-
show.
It's not that
It's
kind of
not
pod.
that
I'm
kind
just
of
saying. I'm
It's
just
an
saying.
audio
I'm
pod.
saying. You guys are getting a little bit insecure when we talk about nakedness. All right, my man's out here doing intermittent
man-
fasting because he doesn't want to get fat.
Listen, man,
Man's over here doing a fucking 400-pound bet because man said he's got a tubby belly.
need I
Some
remind
insecure
you, I could-
motherfuckers to
need
my
I
left and
remind
right.
you,
And you
this
guys
is
are pointing
easy
at me
money.
saying I need to eat.
Need I remind you,
Alright, no,
I
no.
beat the wall on Ninja Warrior. Like, you can't come for me with
Cheers.
this.
I
You
beat
can't come
the
for me.
wall
National
Credentials
on
TV.
Ninja
National
Warrior.
TV shout
Credentials.
out
You ain't got
here.
them.
And now you're intermittently fasting because you don't want to get fat.
I'm intermittently fasting because I want to eat cake at 4 p.m.
Facts. And it does
eat
work.
I eat cake whenever I want and I look amazing.
No, you don't.
Next
It looks-
subject. Next subject.
It worked. So I lost 1.5 stone in 2021, and half of it was intermittent
Hmm.
fasting, and the other half was just lots of low weights. So I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to stop doing weights.
No,
and then
heavy
do a
weights.
shit ton of cardio and compound exercises at 60% of capacity.
Heavyweights, deadlift. Heavyweight. Just
Yeah,
heavyweights.
but you can't do it at full capacity, otherwise you build muscle. I'm trying to strip as quick as possible. So I'm going to do compounds such as heavy
but
weights and
building
benches
muscle,
and lunges.
building muscle burns fat quicker.
Sure, but I don't want to actually keep the muscle on. 'Cause I need to strip weight.
You could. I mean, I feel like you could still do
I can
that.
I can dense the muscle. I can tone up, but I can't put on size. So I don't want to be doing 100% capacity.
I really feel this is unhealthy.
It's
can't-
very
yeah.
unhealthy. Yeah, I don't do not do this. But when I'm 400 pound up, I will slap Richard in the face with my notes, and then we'll all see what victory is.
Don't just don't fall for the cardio
I
trap,
will
though, 'cause
add.
that's not gonna work.
I will add
Yeah.
100
Yeah, yeah,
pounds to. I will add 100 pounds to this bet.
Done.
That was quick.
Shake hand.
No, we don't have to.
Why not?
I'm witnessing
Wait,
this.
so
I've witnessed
we're
this.
done, yeah?
It's
Done.
on. It's on record.
I've-
£500.
I've-
It's
I've a
literally
law degree as well.
It's
so-
literally.
Thank you.
It's literally on record, so you
Done.
don't need to shake my hand.
Shame.
And you're gonna struggle because you've had similar challenges like this in the past, which you have lost.
I won. I won. The last time I had a race down to 180 pounds, I won. Shout out Harry. Beat him 3 days in a row. That challenge was harder than this one because you had to maintain it for 3 days in a row.
Cool.
This one's you just got to touch it once and you're gone.
Cool, bro. Enjoy.
How are you, Rich?
Enjoy the extra £100 that you're gonna get from me. Apparently,
500 quid. I'm
I
going on
am-
holiday, baby.
Yeah, I'm absolutely wonderful. I was away on holiday, as you saw. Had a great time. Wasn't entirely relaxing. But, you know, south of Portugal, the Algarve, where I go every year,
Bull
it
market.
delivers. It hits the spot every single time. I was able to eat whatever I wanted without the fear of tubby goo massing around my waist, any threats of intermittent fasting like these two mushrooms that are to my left and right. And now I'm back in London, loving it. How are you, Shao?
I'm good. I'm good.
This is a podcast, so expand.
Oh, you need more.
Yeah.
No, I'm genuinely just good. Like, life is good. My career is in a
Amen.
great place. Thank God. I feel like I'm doing the stuff that I've always wanted to do musically and career wise. And yeah, I
We're going to get onto your career and your music and your achievements in a bit. What Johnny didn't go into during his chat about do you work or live with the TFL, all that nonsense from the top of the Ned. What he didn't reveal is that while he was spending his holiday at the top of the Ned every day,
I wasn't. Not every day.
certain man from certain social media pages slid into man's DM and had a very interesting proposal for him. So for all of Johnny's nonsense chat about him not being at the Ned very much, he was clearly there enough for a very interesting proposal to hit his desk. Please, my friend, take it away.
Yeah, I need to find it.
I mean, while you're doing that, you could just give the background as well. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
so
like we're 2 weeks away from podcasting. He's forgotten how to do this thing, innit?
yeah, basically. So basically, what happened was I uploaded so much Tory-like content
Yep.
of me enjoying a week at home whilst Rich was abroad.
Yep.
That I was approached by Channel 5 to see if I wanted to participate in Rich Kids Poor Kids,
Oh wow.
which I took as a huge compliment because the upper band.
Can you tell the people what that show is? We have
Yeah, and me-
international
and me too.
listeners.
And me
Sure.
too.
So Rich Kids Poor Kids is where they get rich kids to live like poor kids, and they give poor kids the chance to live like rich kids. And so people get to see how the other half live
I mean,
from
it
both
sounds
sides
really
of
cool
society.
because then you go back to your life and you realize how bad it is.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's content, right? No one actually gives a shit about the subjects. I was hugely honoured, principally because the upper age limit for the show was 25, which meant that producers clearly believe in my skincare routine.
That's not
you-
at
are
all
you
what
a
we're
lumen man?
focusing on.
It was
That's not
on
at all
the
what we're
message
can
that
we-
I sent to
can
you.
we-
If you've seen it.
Do you use Lumen?
I do use Lumen.
Do you
You're
know
a
how I
fucking
found
sick
out about
guy.
Lumen?
Go on.
YouTube ads.
Boom. So did I.
Boom.
Shame.
What's Lumen?
Oh,
Yeah,
don't even tell
see,
him.
exactly,
Don't even tell him.
yeah.
Let him
What is
keep
that?
his Aveeno,
Yeah, it's
innit?
fine.
Let him
Yeah.
keep that.
It's not
$11.99.
Aveeno. It's not
Waste,
Aveeno.
man.
Terrible
It's not
skin.
Aveeno.
Terrible skin.
You man, but again, this is another thing you
You
guys
need
are
that
not going to
charcoal
come
cleanser.
at. You man
Yeah.
are not going to come at me on skin
Gang
terms.
it.
either.
Yeah, I
the
know, right?
exfoliator
Yeah, every
rub,
night,
the
every
rubs
night,
out.
yeah.
Lumen's gang,
And
bro.
the
The under eye
moisturizer,
thing,
yeah, the moisturizer,
the
yeah.
under eye
Oh, do
thing.
you use
Obviously.
the, oh, yeah.
Got the expansion pack.
Yeah,
bruv.
of course. Of
Come
course.
on.
I got discounts because they delivered it to the wrong address. I was like,
Swear
hold on.
down.
Yeah,
I got
they
the
give me like
subscription on
20%
Amazon.
off.
I'm
Yeah.
knees deep
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Lumen.
subscription every like 2 months.
Yeah.
Re-up.
Re-up. 2
Re-up.
months. I'm the exact same. This
Re-up.
guy, bruv.
Hit the plug.
Come on.
Both of your skin is trash.
Yeah. He's hating.
He's just upset.
Yeah.
He's just
Like
upset.
your
He's an Aveeno
regimes,
guy.
I can tell from your skin and the oiliness and all this and the inconsistencies. Your regime is shit. Okay, so all this Lumen you're seeing on YouTube premium ads, they're not doing anything for you.
he's not
This
even
guy
sure
was
what
talking
it
about E45, and now he's talking about Lumen. Sounds like a fucking Netflix show. What are you talking about, bro?
What have you transitioned to?
Can you
then?
tell the people?
Right. Oh, I was trying to avoid it.
No, I'm not trying to avoid it. We're trying to get into it.
Yeah, it was bleak. So this production company that obviously thought I was 25-year-old because my skincare is so good, wanted me to participate in Rich Kid Poor Kid from the rich kid's perspective.
Yeah, so they thought Johnny was rich.
Yeah,
Because of the aesthetic.
yeah, they thought I was rich. A couple
social
pictures.
media's
Couple
a
pictures.
madness.
I've
Yeah.
been saying for quite a few episodes that Johnny is the biggest pro-capitalism fraud
This is just not true.
under the guise of a socialist.
Richard actively
Actually,
supports.
yeah,
I
on
mean,
that
there are
point,
people who holler at me thinking that this guy comes across almost like a communist, but I know better.
this.
But irrespective,
I'm not taking
man
this
was
from a Keir
living
Starmer
up
supporter.
there.
This is mad chat.
Made in Chelsea.
on
There was this chick called Binky, who every single
that a
time,
real person?
her name's Alexandra, but for some reason they call her Binky. Every single time you see her on Made in Chelsea, she'd be with her mum somewhere in some sort of like macaron shop or some sort of like pool or whatever.
E4 back in the day.
Johnny with his mum on the rooftop and with his boys with their tops off and they're doing all this.
Does mummy not deserve to drink orange juice on the pool?
Your mum deserves the world. But all
Uh-huh.
I'm saying is
So what, I can't take my mum for a nice
it contributed
breakfast?
to an aesthetic and they thought you were rich. All I'm saying is, bro, your secret's out. I know you in it, so I've known the secret in it. I know you ain't. I know you're faking it. Like I know you're a fake guy, right? In it. But I'm just glad that the secret's finally out and that
What?
nobody can argue with that
No.
anymore.
So I let the producer from Channel 5 know that 2-2's big man. I grew up off Murder Mile in Clapton in the late 90s.
Yeah, this is when
early
Murder Mile,
mid-2000s.
Murder Mile comes out now. Yeah.
I'm a Clapton Stone Newington native.
Yeah.
This show's not for me. I appreciate there's been quite a bit of Tory content, but I know I also look 25 because of my great skincare regime. But because I'm 29, I'm not going to be a fit for this show.
What did he say to
that? He was like, "Cool, do you know anyone else?" And I said, "I would propose my podcast host, but he is actually very old, so he's not allowed on either. Good luck."
Yeah.
Looking younger than
And
you.
just to go back to that point I was making about striking. Like I just
Oh, here we go.
yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Is
What
the
did you
anti-union
what did you call
episode?
them again? You called them dickheads.
Yeah, they
Haram.
are. They are.
Why?
Because
Bet.
you're making the people suffer who have actually nothing to do with your pay.
That's
If you're going to hit somebody
how
and make them suffer,
it works.
you hit the people who are actually in
how
charge
would
of
you
your.
propose
These
the
people aren't taking the
unions-
trains.
how
The
would
people
you
paying them aren't taking the trains. They
How
don't
would you
care.
propose that the unions go at the government? as opposed to the people.
Do something more structured that actually doesn't hurt the people who aren't doing anything
What
to
do
you.
you propose?
In the same way that them gluing their faces to the motorway and holding up traffic so that people can't get to the hospital or in the ambulance is not helping climate change.
Yeah, that was the
Take
most.
it to the government.
That was the most like upper middle class white protest I ever seen in my life. Who has time to go and stick themselves to the ground?
Yeah,
the jobless, only the jobless.
Yeah, the gringos have got to own that one. What I will say on the union thing, though, is that there are other forms, like Australia and Japan, for example, do a more active form of striking, where, for example, so I think you're conflating two things. Your issue seems to be with the 65k a year, 70k a year tube drivers, who you don't feel are deserving of strike action.
No, my main issue is just making people suffer who are unrelated
Sure, but
to your problem.
your point of view is that these drivers are the people making people suffer by refusing to drive trains. Totally factually incorrect. ASLEF is not leading the train strikes. It's the RMT. The RMT represent the workers, people who work at stations, work at ticket offices, safety offices. These people are not earning 65, 70k a year. Before we even get into the merits of why tube drivers do deserve 65, they're not the ones who are striking. Okay, but other countries like Australia and Japan do more active forms of striking, where, for example, these people who are striking and represented by the RMT, like ticket collectors, refuse to take fares. And so fares, trains can still run, services still operate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's great. That would be good.
Do you know what that does? That hits the people who are paying the
Yeah,
wage
yeah.
in their pocket,
And that would be
it doesn't
fantastic.
It doesn't make Johnny Public suffer.
Sure, that would be fantastic, but it's illegal in this country. The Tories have made it illegal, so they can't do it.
So
how else do they
the
get
Tories
across?
do plenty of illegal stuff themselves. Like at the end,
Sure,
at the end
they're
of
on
the,
power.
At the end of the day, the problem that I have with this is that number one, train fares are too flipping expensive already.
Right,
You know,
so-
because Thatcher decided to sell off the National Rail Service.
Yep.
Not only that, we're paying for other countries.
Totally agree.
Yeah, rail service.
guys got
So it's
you got
already
30
bloody expensive,
seconds.
and then part of the time through the year I can't even use the train when I need to, and when
Right.
I try and drive somewhere, everybody's
Right.
on the road because they can't use the train. So it's just pushing up environmental issues as well.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's not the fault of struggling train service
totally-
workers
totally
who
not, but
deserve
the-
people get it.
inline pay rise with
The
inflation.
message and the delivery, I don't believe in. I
And
think
people
that's
get
wrong.
it. And people get it, right? People understand. I think the average civilian understands. They don't see it in such strong terms as you.
I do.
I don't think they see it as suffering. They see it as a couple of days where things are very inconvenient. It's not a suffering situation for the most part.
Overwhelmingly,
I think if you suffer,
popular
I think if you
these days.
felt like you were suffering, that's fine. I understand it, and I feel like some people.
Well, I mean, I feel
who
like
couldn't
I'm
get
suffering
into
every
work.
time I have to take the train because it's just extortion.
But you're a driver.
It's no take the train.
No, but you're a driver though, so of course you're going to feel that
Well,
way.
no,
right?
but I'm a driver out of necessity because I don't.
Yeah,
like
of course.
taking the
But
train
when you are
because
met
it's
with
just
the
so
reality
inconvenient.
of a one-off train trip versus factored in, spread over a number of rides, car drives, it obviously stands out as
And I
being
mean,
expensive.
look, we're talking
and
about
that is why
we're
it's
talking
things a
about
little bit
mildly
more.
inconvenient. But what about the people who have to get to work and that's the only way they can get to work? Otherwise, they don't earn their wage, they can't pay their bills, they can't eat, so on and so forth.
Well, I think
There's
there is a
people who-
general understanding of what's going on. It's not like an employer can blame an employee for not being able to get to work on a day of a tube strike.
There are some shitty employers.
But what could they do? Fire people?
Well, they can make your life a lot more difficult
How?
just by being a dickhead. Have you not been to work?
I've been to work. I've been to work,
There's employers
but
who
most
make their
employees-
lives
Yeah,
difficult. more
fortunately, in
difficult.
the present context, what we do have is an extremely tight labour market. So if anyone is stupid enough to fire staff because there is a train strike, they will find themselves
In
very
big
much
trouble.
out
Come
of
on.
labour.
Yeah.
Out of labour, which is why the strike is well timed and it's important and it's the right thing to do at the right time.
And it's
Because
about to
all
fuck up
public
Carnival.
sector workers, deserve in line with inflation pay
I
rises.
agree. I just don't agree with the delivery of the message. I don't agree with making people
semantics.
who are unrelated.
We can get
suffer
onto
for-
that another time. We've covered it before. It's gonna fuck up Carnival as well. I'm hearing like the bus.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
not significantly, but there are bus strikes.
Are you man going to Carnival?
I am not sure. By the time
Yeah,
this
same.
comes out, it
I'm
would have been
basically not
done.
sure.
And we would.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely afraid of a couple of things.
I vehemently hate Carnival. I'm going to say that.
I was literally about to say Carnival was clapped. Discuss.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to Carnival in Rio next year though.
Being there, baby.
It's
Life
good.
changing experience.
I was on the concourse with the possessions last time. I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
I'm gonna dance in it this
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Nosso Camarote right at the end underneath the judges thing. Yeah, I was
my
there.
wife's always wanted to dance in it, so we're gonna.
You're gonna get into. You've done a samba school.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're right there, Rich.
He's upset we're hijacking his podcast.
Carnival was clapped. Discuss.
No, you guys moderate. Fuck it. No, honestly, you guys crack on. I mean, the way you man are digressing today is some madness. You carry on. You crack on. I'll weigh in.
Carnival was clapped. Rich. Discuss.
I've been probably 3 times in my life. I don't quite like the idea of going for the first time in 3 years. I think the levels of immaturity and overall craziness are going to be at levels we've never seen before. I think we're used to street shit spilling over into the carnival. We're used to all of that stuff happening. I've been there where some shit has kicked off, and you always get the reports at the end of the carnival saying this amount of people got stabbed, maybe a couple shootings, maybe rarely shootings, but you get my point. And I think this is going to be a much, much more raucous affair. And for that reason, I probably won't go. But at the same time, I do have quite a bit of free time potentially this weekend. So who knows?
My missus wants to go, and I'm literally going to keep her alive. That's why I'm going.
Yeah, that's long.
Speaking
doing day duty at Carnival is fucking long.
Speaking of toxic men,
Because he wants
who
to
need
keep
to
his
go
wife, because he wants to protect his wife. How toxic!
She can't protect herself. Your wife can't
scoundrel,
protect
you.
herself. You're
Scoundrel.
the knight in shining armor. She couldn't possibly protect herself. Speaking of Andrew Tate,
Segways.
Segway King,
Segways.
former kickboxer and multi-millionaire Andrew Tate had his Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook
And businesses.
accounts.
And Gmail.
Really?
Yeah, that was jokes.
Yeah.
That was jokes.
He had he's got an
Let me-
account, he's
let
got the
me-
hustle,
let
he's
me-
got the,
let me
well, I mean,
introduce-
I did my research. He made
introduce-
me do this. By the way, I
Let
hate
me
him for making me
introduce
do
the
this.
topic. Removed after sharing his misogynistic and offensive views online, and for running Hustlers University, which is apparently
A pyramid scheme.
which is basically a pyramid scheme, which allows young men the opportunity to
Young
become,
cucks to hear their
to
daddy.
become rich. He has, in response, in the last 24 hours, released a hour-long video via the channel, the YouTube or Twitter, I think, channel
on YouTube as
of
well.
Jake Paul in response to his ban. Now, did either of you watch it?
No.
I watched like 20 minutes of
Caught,
it.
yeah, similar. I caught about half an hour of it.
Can I just say
began-
also that I can't tell the difference between Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and I never wanted
who
to be able to.
cares? They're
Never wanted to
boring.
be able to.
Idiots. The video begins with Tate claiming to have had a difficult life. As
Who
he
hasn't?
recalls
Yes.
his upbringing in Chicago.
When in doubt, victim it out, baby.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know how Andrew Tate came about, and to be fair, his rise has been quite,
Meteoric.
I think that's the word.
He called
In
himself
that-
the most famous person on the internet currently, which I thought was
I'm sure he could back that up.
narcissistic.
I'm pretty sure he could. I mean, I think he could back it up probably with stats, right?
Well, no, sorry. He said he was the most famous person on the planet.
Yeah, as a result of being the most searched.
Well,
So-
I sincerely doubt it, because if old people don't know who you are, you're not the most famous person on the planet.
If you don't know how he came about, he first rose to prominence in 2016 for being removed from Big Brother. I don't know if that was Big Brother UK. I don't know when that stopped. And that was because a video came out of him apparently attacking a woman with a belt of some sort. And even though that apparently was heavily edited and the woman herself came out and said it was some form of consensual act, that clearly marred his name somewhat. And then he then decided that he was going to gain internet notoriety and became quite large interestingly, without creating too many of his own personal accounts. He became very, very popular on TikTok. Many of his videos circulating around through third parties. So essentially just Bob Lyle 007 accounts, which were essentially clips of things that he had said in a number of different interviews that he had taken part in on various different platforms. And the reason why he was so controversial is because he would say things along the lines of women who get raped, or I'm paraphrasing, but women who are sexually assaulted bear some responsibility for being attacked, and referring to women as property. He said a lot of things in the lines of mental health regarding depression and how this is more of a figment of your imagination. It's not real. And I think that was, to be fair, in reference to both men and women. But that, along with a bunch of other pretty controversial comments, which I've got a whole list of them. I can wheel them off if you'd like me to.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Have allowed him to reach this stage. Now, he also said that he would viciously assault a woman who accused him of cheating. I find that kind of weird. Saying he would bang out the machete, boom in her face, and grip her by the neck. He said, "I'm not a rapist, but I like the idea of being able to do what I want to a woman. Women have no idea how a business works. Being in a loyal, monogamous relationship with a woman is gay." He seeks out and grooms 18-year-old girls because they are fresh. Men having sex with another woman isn't cheating, but a woman talking to a man is cheating. He said his method of having sex with a woman is slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex.
He's such an incel. This guy obviously gets no pussy at all
Women-
whatsoever.
No, I actually think he does get a lot.
Gets
of
nuts.
pussy.
Women could never be
Guarantee
as smart
gets
as
none.
man. Now, if we fast forward to today, as I was saying before, in his long
Fucking
hour
loser.
and 20-minute long final message, he said a lot. He said he's very happy that his life has been difficult because it is difficult to become a man of his capabilities without the struggles, without facing adversities, and without overcoming often insurmountable odds. Even from a very, very young age, he was taught going to the authorities and crying and hoping someone else is going to fix your problems is not the way a man conducts himself. He then went to talk about his upbringing in Luton and being ostracized because he had an American accent, and he was apparently the only American in Luton. I found that quite interesting. How would you know? He then talks about having a gay friend, because part of the victiming it out
Yes.
is ensuring that people know that you had gay friends
You
as
could
well.
mortgage
Kind of
other,
like
mortgage
I'm not
other
racist-
people's
I'm not racist.
victimization.
couldn't be
like that, yeah.
racist because
Yeah.
colour TV and that.
He also did, can I just add, because I found this one interesting. He said that because gay people have chosen not to procreate, they shouldn't be allowed to influence children or to give their opinions on child rearing or on the direction that a child takes in their life, which I find is very interesting, because then do we say the same about childless couples or men who've had vasectomies?
Or people who are infertile.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, clearly this guy has a lot to account for, but I didn't watch the whole thing, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I did. He said at the beginning of the video that he was going to display all the ways that he has contributed to his church, all the charities, the women's charities and mental health associations that he is actively involved in and donating to. But interestingly, before he got his Instagram taken off, and while I was like really digging deep into this guy, I was on his Instagram story, and you guys know the recent story of the influencer in LA, the blonde influencer woman who killed her boyfriend, the Nigerian guy.
Yeah, heard of it.
Yeah. So he weirdly posted that headline, but with like no caption or no comment. He just posted it. And you know what he was trying to say, right? He was essentially trying to perpetuate this fear or this feeling that he has, and this message that he spreads that, see, men are in danger too. It's not just us who do this shit. It's crazy women.
He a little bitch. That's why.
He is a bitch. And what's quite upsetting, I'm not going to lie, is I just don't think I could beat him up, which is also quite frustrating when you
Yeah.
when you see. I see you would, and we talk about narcissists in it, but he's a big narcissist as well, because he thinks he can beat up everyone.
Yeah.
I mean that in the nicest possible way.
listen,
But this is
my job is being a narcissist.
but this is a heavyweight kickboxing world champion.
Not
with
world champion.
medal-
Not world champion. Professional, but very B-tech.
medal winning.
Oh, sure, we've all got medals.
What kickboxing medals have you got at a
Oh,
high
I didn't
level?
say I got kickboxing medals. So I got
Exactly,
I got
so it's
football
slightly
and tennis
different.
medals. I mean,
Listen,
I'm fucking.
I'm talking about the fact that I can't beat someone up.
Can catch hands on a good day.
Also true. The point is basically
That's not true.
90% where this
Say
guy's
that to Mike
ego-
Tyson.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight Mike Tyson.
That's not the why you
But you
move.
do wanna
Why
fight
are you?
Ante.
You said anybody.
I said I would. I don't.
You said
I don't
anybody
particularly
can catch
want
you.
to, but I would. Anybody could,
Say that to Mike.
but I don't want to.
Say that to Alexander Usyk.
Oh, sick.
So like 90%.
He's
of
catching
this-
hands from none of us.
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
be
yeah.
clear.
I'm
Yeah.
not fighting Usyk. I got no problem with Usyk.
All right, cool. So everybody can catch hands, but you just have a select list of
Except
people.
Anybody.
A select list of people who you wouldn't fuck with.
Objectively, anybody can catch hands. Not from
Not
me
from
specifically.
average man on the street,
Not from
though.
me specifically. Anybody can catch hands, especially at carnival.
you've got insight into how
Segue,
you've got
just to let you know.
you've got insight into how our conversations are on the phone and on the text, right?
Yeah, I can see. I can see.
Incel culture. I don't want to just dive in right there and make it seem as though that's all this encompasses. But, and by the way, let's take a step back. There was a teacher in a UK school who at the start of term, I think last year, put out a tweet basically saying, teachers and parents be aware, there's this guy called Andrew Tate. He's very, very popular and the kids are following his every word. So that's kind of how he came to prominence over here. It's worrying because as part of this university thing or this hustlers thing that he does, he has kids essentially paying for his lessons, but he also incentivizes all of these third parties, as I called them, for bringing other people onto his platform. Part of that being the editing, clipping, and posting of his content. So it has become this quite intricate web of affiliate marketing, if you want to call that, if you want to call it that, which actually adds to the 13 billion plus impressions or views that he has had across TikTok alone. I think it was.
That's how I first heard about it. I was just like, well, who's this weird guy? Why does he speak so weird? And I just scrolled off it.
Weird accent. Anecdotally, you hear a lot of teachers who are saying now that like kids are refusing homework if it's being passed on to them from a woman. They're rejecting reading books that were written by female authors. Quite worrying.
Very worrying. Extremely worrying. I mean, look, like I said, I hate you for making me actually research this guy.
You're welcome.
I have complicated opinions about him. Yeah,
I like those.
Which is, I think it's undeniable that he's successful and that he's made something out of his life. I think he's an extreme narcissist. I think he has very, very troubling views, in particular about the male-female dynamic. I think that on the face of it, a lot of what he says is he has a point, but the point is lost in the specifics.
What's his overriding point, do you think?
Well, I was watching the Grilled sessions,
Yep.
Where he was speaking with a young woman about
Shian Reynolds?
Yeah, about I don't know her specifically,
Peng.
but I'm married, so whatever.
She can still be Peng.
She can if she wants. I've got no.
She can if she
I've
wants.
got no opinion on that. Trying to live
Wait,
happy.
wait.
Trying to live
So
happy.
now that you're married, you don't say a girl's Peng anymore?
Hell no.
Wow.
Listen, the only girl that's Peng is my wife.
This guy's the fucking
Leave
panda
me
the
out.
panda. I hate
Amen.
it.
Listen,
Panda the panda.
Respect
Carry on.
listen.
Respect it.
Monogamy, mahogany.
Shout out his wife. I don't know if you
Yeah.
want me to say her name, but shout out.
No.
He's like, no. we don't know. We don't need anybody sneaking in the DMs.
Yeah,
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So he was talking to her, and what were some of the points he was making? Let me just remind myself.
I asked you what is his overriding
I think.
point
Oh no, I
overall?
do. Yeah. Okay. So because I actually sent this to her to watch as well, because we have similar discussions about some of these overarching points, which is I do personally believe that young men need some form of guidance. They need some form of responsibility, and they need to feel that they have some kind of purpose. There's a lot of young men out there that feel disillusioned, that feel that they don't really know what to do. They're interested in women for the ones who are heterosexual, and they don't know how to attract them. So they start to become more incel-like, more simp-like. Some people, I don't know if we're supposed to say simp, I don't care.
Say it.
But the point is that there's a lot of young men out there very disillusioned who don't know what to do, don't know how to do it, and they don't have strong or appropriate male role models. Somebody like Andrew Tate comes in with an overarching message, which is empower yourself, be a man, so on and so forth. Do you want what I've got? Do you want these cars? Do you want these women around you? Do you want this money? Of course, what young man's going to say no to that? Then, so he's got these overarching opinions and views, which on the surface of it, you're not going to disagree with. But then when you start getting into the actual specifics, it's very, very problematic.
He's naturally selling a lifestyle, and
Yes,
I will
he
agree
is.
with you on
He
that.
is,
Right?
absolutely.
It's hard to disagree if you're young and impressionable. Sorry. It's hard to disagree with somebody who has apparently made
And he speaks
a
very
lot
well.
of
And
money,
Johnny,
who is
Johnny,
speaking well.
we were talking about
But
this.
the issue is that I'm not sure. We don't know the source of this guy's money. I'd be interested to follow the money to see where it's all come from. But the Hustlers University, to my knowledge, isn't the source of his main income. So he's making these kids believe that he is going to make them rich in the same way he got rich, and that is
It's not. I don't think
it would appear that's a lie.
I don't
From
even
what
think it's about rich. I think it's just the entire lifestyle. It's having
No,
the
it's
women.
rich, 'cause that's all he talks about.
It's the Dan Bilzerian effect.
No, yeah, exactly,
If
and
Dan
they flaunt their
Bilzerian
money.
decided to be like to start an academy, hey, you want to be like me?
It's about money, though.
Hundreds of thousands of guys would sign up for
but
it.
it's about money because people aren't going to Dan Bilzerian or Andrew Tate because one's got muscles and the other's a kickboxing guru, whatever. Like they're going because these simple-minded young boys associate success with women, expensive clothing, big homes, fast cars.
I mean, you say simple-minded young boys. I think a vast proportion of the male population has that viewpoint.
Nope.
I think so.
Nope, I disagree.
Okay.
No, I disagree with that. I mean, it's impossible for us to find a conclusion to that. But
okay,
there
so
are-
my counterpoint.
I find it quite. And look, you and I are both from. I mean, all three of us in this room are from situations, especially from parents' side, which potentially could have, and please correct me if I'm speaking out of turn, but potentially could have had effects on us with regards to how our parents' relationships were, etc., etc. But even with that being said, even in my example, my dad not being as present from a very, very young age, the role models that I chose were not dickheads.
Well,
right?
I'll just add
and
before I get a phone call from my dad. My dad was present.
No,
for me,
I didn't say your dad wasn't. I said in my case, even in my example. But what I said initially was we all had situations with regards to our parents that could have potentially meant that guidance or feeling a little bit misguided or out of place or whatever could have easily happened.
End up down this road.
Correct,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, I reject this notion that there aren't other better, rich even role models out there that these kids can refer to.
I totally agree,
right?
but controversy.
There is something
sells.
about his particular style in this particular era that is like proper turnkey. It's gold dust.
Well,
and that's kind of what we need to tap into. And that's why I started this whole thing with like, why is this incel culture?
He's an
And we
excellent-
touched
he's
upon
an-
it. And by the way, we're going to get mad views on this episode just because we said the word.
He's an excellent orator, and he has the energy of a cult leader, and he has the ability to sell water to a fish, fundamentally, because what he does is he presents you with a problem which is undeniable, and then his solution is just so very slightly skewed that you can agree with a lot of it, and then you don't even realize that you might be agreeing with the stuff that is really actually not good at all.
Yeah, I've been sat here quiet, listening to you two go back and forward on it. It's been interesting to listen to. I think you're both giving this guy far too much credit.
I'm not sure I gave him any credit.
Well, fundamentally, this guy's a bitch. That's what's up. I don't care if he's a trained kickboxer. He's a little bitch, and he's a little bitch for the following reasons. From what I could gather in terms of following the money and where the cash comes from, he made a little bit of drink from being a BTEC kickboxer. He got to a certain level was found, got the shit kicked out of him, and then had to give up that career. He then had a few sex charges against him pre and post Big Brother, both here and in the US, and that's basically why he now lives in Romania.
That's not true. He's not got a criminal record.
He's under investigation here.
I recall he said that the investigation went nowhere.
Yeah, he's not got
Still,
a criminal
as I understand, it's still open.
No, he hasn't
Because
got anything
there's an
open.
active sex trafficking
Yeah,
investigation
he spoke
in
about
Romania.
that. I don't know how true this is, but
Right.
Sorry to cut you, but he said that apparently somebody just called the police and said that he was sex
Yeah.
trafficking.
Sorry to cut you with him, isn't it, motherfucker? This is very cute what you guys
It's
have
called,
going on.
it's called Levels.
Carry on.
This guy's got a rap sheet that is very, very sus, from extremes of sex trafficking to smacking someone with a belt, however, whatever this woman's come out and said, ex post. But he's gone back to Romania, and I'm sorry, like, I'm not really being funny, but if you're a multi-millionaire baller, then like you're living in New York before you're living in Bucharest, most likely. The story all starts to become very, very sus.
Didn't he say
add
there was a
context.
reason
Hold
that
on,
he moved
hold
to
on,
Romania?
hold on.
There was a
So
reason
from where
why
I
he
could-
said
from where I can-
Romania, though.
Where I can gather
Can
the
I
money
say
comes
it?
from, he's made a bit of change.
Can I say it?
What?
There was a reason why he said he's moving to Romania.
Why?
And it was very, very sordid.
What?
It was basically along the lines of he can get away with more in Romania.
Yeah, which is fucking
Effectively,
sus, right?
the reason he's in Romania is because he believes the women are better, and that money will take him a lot further.
No, that wasn't it.
They're easier
And
to get to,
and you
and
can get
you
aw-
can do more shit
and
to
you can
them.
get away with sexual assault,
Yeah,
basically.
basically, right?
To just and also just on your point about the hitting the woman with the belt, because I looked into that and apparently it was consensual.
That's what I said.
Apparently.
There's plenty of smoke. There have been other accusations made as he's become more famous, etc., etc. Okay, fine, you can take the validity rate of that or whatever, but like, there's plenty of smoke for this guy. The point I was trying to get at is that the money seems to have come from. He got a bit of change from his kickboxing career. He went back to Romania with it, and he kind of got involved in some kind of UFC-like setup, some combat style setup in Romania. He's managed to source some funding because he's got a little bit of a name from some very sus people. And then as that money's been cleaned through this fighting company, TV rights have been sold. They've made a bit of cash, and that's where the bulk of the money comes from. Until he had enough cash to get going on Hustlers University, which is where you get children to sign up to listen to you be a successful businessman, even though like the business record's fairly patchy because it's got a lot of dirty money in it. And then these children refer their friends, and then they get a cut of what their friends spend on Hustlers University. Is literally a pyramid scheme. Okay, so between like money laundering, a fake fighting competition, and setting up a pyramid scheme, that's where the dude's cash comes
Do
from.
we know categorically it's money laundering?
No, well, how can you prove it? Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Romanian
is this all
prosecutor.
that? Is this all that relevant? I mean,
But it's
he's selling the lifestyle.
Again,
He's got the money.
I sat and listened quietly whilst you two had it out. I'm building an overall picture here, right? Can't deny the guy was a kickboxer. Okay, he was a successful fighter to the point, but basically this guy is a small subset of incel, which is a combat trained incel, and that's ultimately where all of his shtick comes from, right? The guy, if you look at any of his streams, for someone who I have an overarching rule in life, which is anyone who spends too much time talking about women tends not to spend a lot of time with them, right? If you're actually like, getting pussy, you're not talking about women's business that frequently. You're out doing your shit, right? It's the same kind of friend who like goes on a date and like sends a picture to the group chat that he's actually with a bird. It's the same guy who says that he's always getting with birds, right?
Nah, I
it's
disagree.
an inconsistency.
Sorry, Johnny, I
very
disagree.
much disagree.
It's an inconsistency.
No,
Well, the
very
proof's
much
in the pudding.
disagree.
Every time,
No,
if you
no.
look at this guy's,
There are guys who are outside who just like to send pictures of that shit all the time, innit?
If you look at this, hold on. If you look at this guy's streams, right? If you actually look at the content, the product that he puts out, which is the content, there is one, no one's ever seen a single woman sitting with him on stream, and two, his companions and who are on the other segments of the Twitch screen tend to be young boys, 18 to 19-year-old boys,
But
multi-millionaires who are getting shit tons of pussy. Do not dedicate their evenings talking to children.
That's the matter of fact,
the reason
bro.
you don't see women on his podcast
Right.
is, and this is the problem I have with him, he doesn't value women as equals. He doesn't see a woman. Going back to the what's it called, the roast or the
grill.
The grill.
But he spoke to her.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't see them as equals. He said himself that what's a man doing with a female friend?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't believe that a woman should be giving an advice to a man. His words, and I paraphrase, were, if you've got a serious issue, you're never going to a woman for advice, which I think is categorically wrong. I also think it's wildly offensive because he says men and women are different. True. He says that men and women have different roles. Kind of true. If you were talking about certain things, it depends on how you look at things, depends on what part of the country you're in. But then he extrapolates forward to think that because men and women are different and men and women have different roles, men are superior and men are on a different level to women, and men shouldn't take advice from women. Men should not be associating with women that they're not having sex with, so on and so forth. My main counter of your point here is that at the end of this date, despite the fact that this woman that what's her name again, please?
Xian.
Despite the fact that Xian was largely repulsed by him and he was being abrasive on purpose to his word, she still gave him a 6 out of 10 for the date. So when men like that are actively rewarded in the, I'm using air quotes for the listeners, sexual marketplace by women who actually still will date them and have sex with them, they're not going to stop behaving like absolute arse monkeys.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean, I haven't seen the content, but if she gave him a 6 out of 10, I'd be surprised if she actually really wants to fuck him.
She gave him a 6 out of 10 after consistently picking apart parts of his character.
Yeah.
I think the reason he got a 6 out of 10 is because
He's good looking, he's got money.
No, I think it's more because she's nice than anything else.
Yeah,
But
fundamentally, there's no way.
I
someone
don't think
who-
she had a bad conversation with him. I think she accepted that he was intellectual. I think she accepted that he was successful. I don't.
He argues
he
with
referred
children.
to women
He's like
as-
Dan
he referred to
Bilzerian
women
makes
as-
outlay money paying
guys,
coke with
I
high school
agree.
kids.
I agree with your sentiment on Andrew Tate, but I'm just telling you what I think about
Go ahead.
her decision to give him a 6. I don't think, to Johnny's point, she's wanting to take this guy home. I think she was appalled and for the most part, disgusted.
As
The
like-
6 out of 10 that she gave him was pretty inconsistent with the ongoing commentary all throughout the date. So to your point, yes, maybe that's a massive misjudgment on her side if you're looking at the bigger picture in terms of like young kids who are viewing that. But again, circling back, the source of his money isn't really the problem. Whether or not he's a B-Tech, no, it isn't, because
Because that's the product. The product is
But
you
I
can be
like-
rich like me.
No, but-
It's
But
bullshit.
no, but I
the
like,
point I'm trying to make
I
is-
like where you're. Sorry, I really like where you were going with that, and I just want to finish that for a second, because I think that this is a twofold problem. Whilst she may not be going home with him, I guarantee you that there are women who would go home with him, despite his
And
very,
she said
very,
that.
Doubt it.
despite his very, very problematic views. I don't. I think
Doubt
I've
it.
seen enough women who are attracted to that kind of behavior.
Transactional.
Yeah, it is.
Transactional,
It
right?
is, but that doesn't mean it's
This is
not
the
going to
point.
happen.
This
And
guy
then-
has not had non-transactional sex for years.
And then
There's no way any woman who actually values
you
themselves
can't-
wants to
you
go home
can't
with
say
him.
that.
These are fucking insults.
But furthermore, also,
can't say that.
the giving him a 6
Definitely
out of 10, regardless of whether she believes it or not, or whether she's being nice or not, the problem with this is it sends a message to those young boys that you can behave like this and women will still accept you and still give you a passing grade.
Fine.
6 out of 10 is not a bad
It's
a
not.
mark. It's not a 1 out of 10. It's
It's
not I'm never going to see this guy again. Despite the fact that he was purposefully obtuse, despite the fact that he referred to women as objects, despite the fact that he said if a woman has an OnlyFans that he should get some of the money because he's basically her property.
Yeah.
And she still gave him a 6 out of 10. What does that say to young boys who are watching that and thinking, oh, well, if I'm like Andrew Tate,
I'm in
I can get
agreement.
away with
That's
this?
why I said it's a misjudgment from her in terms of the bigger picture. Maybe she didn't think that deeply into the rating that she gave him, but she probably was with him for a good few hours.
Yeah,
It was
but
heavily.
the problem
listen
is
to me,
men
it was,
like-
it was
men like
heavily
that get
it was
rewarded.
heavily edited. We probably didn't see many of his better qualities. There are a lot of people who are riding for him, and I'm not defending him at all. But circling back, and the reason why I started this with regards to the young boys and the guidance and the role model stuff is there is no real relevance of where his money came from. And if you allow me to expand, whether or not he got his money from a fucking dodgy drug deal, if he's able to sell a lifestyle and he's quite vague about where that money has come from, he's still able to sell that lifestyle.
Well,
not many people knew, or to this day know, that Dan Bilzerian is this like massive
I was
poker.
gonna
Was
say,
it
I
poker?
think- yeah, poker,
And
but I
that, I
think it
think
came
son
from- I
of a
think a lot-
poker,
a
son
lot
of
of
a
it came from his
poker.
dad,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's that son of a poker champion, and he became a poker champion, or whatever they're called in his own right.
Trump started
I don't know.
off with
huh?
Trump
I don't
started
know
off
if many
with
people.
$250 million.
Yeah, exactly, from his dad. But like, my point is, I don't think many people really know or care where the money come from. They are dealing
It's
with
just the
the
fact that
end
money's
product.
there. Yeah.
It's like rap. Nobody really cares about, or often cares about, like in your world as an independent rapper. When I was doing it as well, they don't see the hard yards, the stuff that you're doing when nobody's watching.
I mean,
they
that's
see
about anime, so I think...
No. But when you weren't rapping about anime,
Yeah.
people would automatically assume
Yeah.
that you had made it before you'd made it. Yes or no? Because you're a rapper, you're on TV, and you're on radio.
For me...
They don't understand that They don't.
yeah, okay, I see what you're
They
saying.
don't
Yeah,
understand the difference between independent. I mean, you were obviously independent. That was your brand. But to somebody who doesn't really know the difference between independent and signed, they just see you on the TV and they're like, oh, he's a rapper. If I saw him on the street, I'd ask him for his autograph. You've made it, whatever. People don't, and they will look at you as a role model, even if at certain times throughout your independent journey, you were month to month in terms of your money, right? So my point is, the kids don't care where the money comes from. They're being sold a lifestyle.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to address is, why are people like him role models? How do they become role models? For me, there isn't like this massive, like obvious, maybe in
it's a
parts of
pushback.
America,
It's a
but there
pushback.
isn't this massive, like globally, there isn't this massive like surgence of young men who don't have father figures. There are certain parts of
no,
society,
it's a
but
pushback.
for the most part, where is this desire for leaders like him coming from?
I believe it's a response to women's desire for independence and women's desire to do their own thing, because suddenly young men who potentially would have a look in terms of some women don't. And
But if you're 13, 14, 12, do you really...
well, okay, you're 13, 14, 15, you want a girlfriend, you're approaching these women who are good looking, who are nice, they're doing their thing, they know their value, you are still kind of not quite there in terms of discovering who you are, and you get pushed back a couple times, you get laughed at by female friends. Suddenly you're like, oh, all these bitches, these women, there's something wrong with them. They only want guys who are rich. You know, the reason I can't, because your ego is protecting itself, right? The only reason that they don't like me is because I don't have money. All these bitches are gold diggers, so on and so forth. Then suddenly you hear somebody else who's echoing this little voice in your head that's spouting this absolute nonsense, and he's saying you can be like me. Yeah, women are actually all gold diggers, but do you know what? Here's how you get them. Here's how you game it. Here's how you talk.
So it's like a form of like it's like a form of.
It's enabling. It's
No,
enabling.
it's also like a form of like converting to fundamentalism.
It is fundamentalism. It is fundamentalism, and the thing is.
What's
Because
wrong with this, boy? What? Say it with your chest, bro.
I'm letting you talk.
But you're shaking your head like crazy.
I'm shaking my head in multiple places.
Then go off.
So the first point that you made was that this is a response to women's desire for independence. I believe that was as you phrased it.
something to that.
So
effect.
that would then imply some culpability of the movement towards more egalitarianism for women in society.
I don't think it's culpability. I think that with every cause, there's a response, causality.
The question that you asked is why do people look why is this kind of product popular and rebut your point at the same time, which is basically that not like too many people record podcasts like this or other types of content and don't call this guy for what it is. Right, the guy is a bitch and he's a liar and he's full of shit, and people aren't brave enough just to say it to his face and don't talk out the reasons as to why he's full of shit.
Yo, what do you think our opinion is of
the drivers? The drivers behind this have got nothing to do with a more egalitarian system in terms of gender. The drivers behind this are unfortunately a desperate economic system where people have been forced into isolation and individualism, and there is no context outside of an immediate nucleus for them to see external references. And so if the men in their family aren't ideal male role models, or they have a warped perception of what the alpha male is, then people like Andrew Tate are attractive to them. It's got nothing to do with how women behave. It's just that men are basically, we're all fucking brass. So we grow up in brass families, and if your ideal of what you see on television doesn't match your own reality, then you listen to anyone who promises to offer it to you. And that's why these kids fall for it. That's why these kids fall
because
because this guy has guy has cars, he has planes, he purports to have bitches around him, and so this facade becomes attractive to young men because it's not what they have. It's not what they have.
Absolutely.
And okay, fine. Who among us wasn't turfed by a girl when we were 13 years old in the playground, right? Who among us didn't have a crush who didn't like us when we were 15? That didn't mean that this issue of incelism was as prevalent among our generation.
But
No,
this
it's
is
become
about-
more
this-
prevalent. It's
but
become
this-
more
but now-
pronounced
yeah.
as economic conditions have evolved in the
But
last
I
15,
think-
20
I
years,
think
and as
that-
individualism has overtaken our society. It's because these people live in echo chambers of shit, and the economic conditions mean that they're stuck in these echo chambers of shit, and that neoliberal capitalism has pushed us all towards a regressive individualism, that this guy, this singular person who becomes your single external point of reference, tells you that bitches ain't shit, you believe bitches ain't shit.
But how do you
believed
explain
it beforehand? You believed it beforehand, and that's how.
No, I don't think a lot of these kids did believe it beforehand.
No, I think
because these kids were not doing this. Kids were not behaving like this last summer.
Dog.
Teachers were not
They-
reporting.
Dog, you know-
no, teachers were not reporting that kids weren't taking homework off female teachers last summer. That's bullshit. They've been
before
turned by
Andrew
this
Tate
content.
existed,
What was
there was another
the catalyst?
Andrew Tate. Before
Well, this is what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Before Andrew Tate, there were other Andrew Tates, and before this before this renewed
weren't
view,
popular and
hang on,
successful.
and before this renewed view of women's place in society,
Right.
women were not able to do anything in society.
This
is swung.
This has always been the case.
I'm talking before our parents, bro.
Right.
So you're making it sound as if like this is a new phenomenon brought on by
This is always
economics and individualism and pandemic.
Yeah, but the
This is-
explosion of the phenomena has. You can track the number of fucking incels in society.
This has always
probably
been the
by
case. The
expansion monetary base.
the difference
It wouldn't be
is
difficult.
that the internet exists now, so it's far easier to spread
catch these
information a
people,
lot
right,
quicker
and to catch
for
potential
this
marks.
and for this stuff to become dangerous.
Right.
What I will say is, I do think it's no. I'm gonna be real. I do think it's problematic to a degree that social media can just decide who they like and who they don't like. Now, I think that Andrew Tate is a problem, not because of who he is, but because of what he can do to young men and the way that they're behaving.
So you think it's wrong that the social media companies have been able to kick him off?
I don't. This
Even
is
though
why I
they're-
say it's
even though-
complicated.
even
This is
though
why I
they're
say it's
private
complicated. This is
companies
why I
who
say
have
it's
their own
complicated.
politics.
This is why I
Look,
say it's complicated.
I've heard
because
a lot
I
of
don't think
people
it's-
say
I don't
that.
think it's wrong, but I do think that it can lead I think that we're going down a dangerous
That's
path.
BS. I'm
I think
sorry.
we're going
Like,
down a
no, I
dangerous
mean,
path.
obviously, I'm not saying you're bullshit, but that for me is a BS argument. I've heard it a lot. If I am a CEO of a social media company and I have a philosophy and a vision of the world, and my company that I built with that philosophy and that vision in mind is a home for a huge amount of grotesque behavior,
Absolutely.
which is the antithesis of my philosophy on the world, then I'm going to do what I can to get rid of it.
Oh, no,
You do
absolutely,
not have to be on my
absolutely,
social
but
media
then-
platforms. There are others. Freedom of speech and the freedom to offend is a completely different argument. Freedom of
I
speech
believe
in a
in freedom of-
public
I believe in
environment
freedom of
when it's
speech,
governments
but not
involved
without
and
freedom of
civilians is
consequence.
different to freedom of speech on a private social media platform. Yes, they've got shareholders. Yes, you can buy their stock. But let's keep it real. It's still privately owned.
I believe in freedom of speech, but not without freedom of consequence.
Exactly.
I don't think you can just say whatever you want without the risk of getting slapped in
Correct.
the mouth.
But circling back to Johnny, I don't like this man. I don't think you like this
No,
man.
I
I know
don't.
you said he has some points,
No,
but
no,
I'm
because
not.
I can see exactly
for
what
me,
I can see exactly what he's doing because I've seen
he's
it done
manipulating. Oh God, this is gonna sound terrible. He's
manipulating children, that's what
Yeah,
he does.
exactly, and
He
that's
sells
that's
a
why.
fake
That's,
image.
that's,
No,
that's
to
what I was
children.
saying.
And to grown men.
I wouldn't say
Unfortunately,
children.
grown
I say
men fall for
young men. I say young
Yeah,
men.
young
who are
men.
in-
Children. There's
I say
under
young
18s
men
who sign up to his shit. They're
Well,
children.
young men who are in a formative part of their
The
lives.
children, if they're under
who
18,
wanna-
they're children,
Okay.
right? The guy punts a product to kids,
And that's what
who
I'm
subscribe to it and pay for it, and it's fucked.
And
it's
that's
built
what I'm
on
saying.
a-
It's
fundamentally
built on a house
because-
of lies. It's built on a house of lies.
It's fundamentally
not in
because I
dispute.
think because they feel disillusioned and they feel that they can't interact with the
Why
with,
do they feel
with women
disillusioned?
because
Why-
because
why do
that's,
they feel it?
Because the elephant in the
that's-
room is there is a dearth, there is an absolute disintegration of resilience in the younger generations. To your point, and I was saying this in
and
a,
that
in
is
a
part
group
of the
chat.
point that Andrew Tate
Yo,
peddles,
you
which
need to
can't
be
disagree with.
you need to be rejected by somebody who you are interested in multiple times in your childhood.
Absolutely.
You need to get up on stage in front of everybody in your drama performance and forget your lines in front of everybody.
Absolutely.
You need to get smacked in your mouth. You playtime and you're talking about once I've gone to the tuck shop I'm gonna bang man in his mouth. You need to go into that playground and get banged in your mouth to really understand resilience. It's resilience that is missing, and I don't understand what's going on. I was speaking to somebody whose mother works in mental health, and she said a lot of the youths that she gets referred to upon assessment, more often than not, once they've gone through the assessment, suffer more from a resistance and aversion to resilient or threatening situations which require resilience versus any overt mental health issues.
Yeah.
So what is it about the times that we are living in right now? And
It's
the
because
answer to most things is probably social media, let's be
well,
honest, right?
It's feelings.
But
It's my feelings
Capitalism.
are hurt.
It's a social contract,
Therefore,
capitalism.
let's cancel you as well. I think that
cancel
there's-
culture's got a part to play in this as well.
Absolutely. But just to say very quickly, before Andrew Tate existed, we had pickup artists and we had people like Roosh. And this is not anything new. Andrew Tate is just filling a gap that was there before. The
And
difference
he's not
is
even new. He's been around for time.
He's
just
like-
got
he's
no,
like,
no, but his role
people are making links
his role has
to,
been nothing new.
Kevin Samuels as well.
Yeah,
Like
his role is nothing new. It's just that he's the most powerful one and he's the most prominent one at the moment. But what he's doing and what he's been doing is not new because young men and children, as you said, have always sought out some kind of answer to the reason that they're getting rejected by women, a reason that they're not successful, a reason that they don't feel happy within themselves, a reason that they don't feel a place within society, and they want somebody to tell them that it's not their fault, that it's society's fault, that it's women's fault, that it's not something wrong with them, or that that it's what did I want to say? It's not something wrong with them, but it's something wrong with everybody else, and therefore you blame all these other people, and that's what Andrew Tate is selling, and that's what these young people or these children are buying
But
because
this goes back to the point that I was making when I said earlier that he's a pound shot Tommy Robinson, because his product is misogyny in the same way that Tommy Robinson's product is racism. And when I kind of half facetiously say the problem is capitalism, but ultimately this product sells now because it is a useful escape valve. In the same way that nationalism becomes popular under tough economic conditions. It's happened all throughout history. It's probably just about to happen again. If we were in better economic times and men didn't feel like their jobs were under threat or their economic conditions were so tough or that they were struggling
wouldn't be
to
looking
make
around
they wouldn't
looking
be
for
listening to
someone
this
to
shit.
blame.
They wouldn't need the escape valve. They wouldn't need the excuse. And the exact same product that Tommy Robinson sells in racism, this guy sells in misogyny. It's
difficult
important to
thing-
look at him in that context.
the difficult thing with it, for me anyway, is that a lot of his points or a lot of his message is guys, take responsibility for yourself. Go to the gym. Start being more resilient. Start working on your craft and being a man of interest and a man of value. Oh, by the way, women are objects. Also, work hard and don't take no for an answer because other men are going to be doing the same and you're going to be competing with them.
You're saying that there's a deliberate mix of useful and shock value.
Absolutely.
Naturally.
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot that he says, which on the face of it, and this is the point I made at the beginning, on the face of it, is good and is helpful for young men to hear, but it's mixed in with these wholly misogynistic and very, very, I don't want to use the word problematic because it just feels like, oh,
It's hella problematic.
Yeah, no, but it's dangerous is the word I'm going to use. Dangerous because when you have these young men who are then looking at women and being like, oh, I don't want to read a book by a woman or I don't want to be given this, but that's hella dangerous. Yeah. I don't think Andrew Tate on the face of it is the problem. I think what he's creating is the problem. That is my point.
He's just a response. Andrew Tate is not special, and he'll disappear, and the next one will come along. He just seems to have got a bit of clout because we're in a quiet summer, right? But he is a response to the way that the world is, right? And this reason of why aren't kids resilient anymore? Well, again, you could argue this is part of the social contract of capitalism. Keep buying shit, keep consuming. The system will take care of all external threats. You just make sure that you educate yourself, get a job, and produce for the system, right? That's why that is very much neoliberal capitalism's social contract, and so kids don't have to suffer because there's no threat of us ever going to war. We're not going to be sent across to Europe or to East Asia to fight conflict. We're not going to have to. Sorry,
suffering is relative.
Suffering is relative, right? But there is suffering is relative, but there's almost an absolute degree of a lack of suffering because we're very fortunate in the West that most of us have grown up with no prospect of a life or death situation threatening our existence. Okay, and that then will produce a certain type of person. So if you grow up in your life, and maybe, well, do we count? Yeah, I think we probably do. But most of us grow up, with varying degrees of ease as children. But for the most part, we were fed, homed, educated, warm. No, like, okay, fine. A few of us got banged up in the playground or whatever. We had scuffles in the street, but like there was no real threat to life.
Yeah.
Right. So like our concept of what danger is and our concept of struggle is kind of nowhere in comparison to either previous generations or less fortunate parts of the world. And it's those parts of the world that have more resilience to us because this is how the system works and it breeds young people to basically become units of production, which is a word that I've used about people in the past, and that it produces people to follow leads. Our education system is geared to produce young people to follow leads and to follow direction. And all this guy is doing is in the same way that Dan Bilzerian was not a champion poker player. He used to play like high level Saturday league football level poker and just beat them because he was semi-pro, right?
It doesn't matter.
This guy uses like, I remember I said in the last episode that I'm an NVQ level politics guy, yeah? This guy's also an NVQ level politics guy. He just uses his NVQ level politics skills to speak to what is ultimately a willing and desperate consumer base.
I'm not saying this guy's impressive. I'm just saying this guy has reach.
Sure. I think Andrew Tate is just a symptom of a wider problem.
A wider economic system that's fucked us to the extent that this is now popular.
I think if Andrew Tate wasn't here, we would have another Andrew Tate. I think.
Yeah. Which is why I was going to ask whether or not it's futile that his accounts have been switched off. Is it the last that we've seen of him? I think it probably is. He seemed a bit deflated and like he can't be asked with it on that final message video. What I watched of it anyway.
I think those who want to seek out his message will continue to do so.
Yeah,
but
the
at least
hustlers
he won't reach new people.
Or maybe he'll go into the Trump network if that's still a thing. Like all
Truth
these
Social,
whatever it may be. There will always
him.
be a place, and if anything, that's going to make Andrew's price go up.
Yeah,
I think what they've done.
But to your point, there's going to be
is effectively martyrdom.
Because,
You know, like you said, we don't, Johnny, because people can't see who I'm pointing at. We don't have the same kind of struggles, but death on social media is effectively death in real life at this point because of how relevant and important social media is within our lives. So by doing this to him, they've almost deified him to a degree to those who follow.
If the guy's really a multi-millionaire, fuck him, he'll be fine.
He'll be alright.
Oh no, he'll be absolutely fine. But it's never. For
What
me,
do you
it's
think-
never. He's not the problem. It's what he's creating is the problem for me.
How do you think Andrew Tate would feel about poor old Sanna Marin, the Finnish Prime Minister?
Segways.
I'm on fire tonight. I mean, I don't know. We smashed that Andrew Tate section eventually.
Now I never have to look at the guy again.
Yeah, for real.
fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. But yeah, he wouldn't have liked seeing Sana
No.
Marine
What, a woman in office?
partying with her.
Haram.
Oh yeah, well yeah. First of all, a
Haram.
woman in office with a job.
Leading a
That's
NATO country.
Crazy.
No
And
way.
then in her free time, in her downtime,
How dare
partying with her friends. I feel really, really bad for this lady. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Prime Minister of Finland, who we mentioned when we were talking about like Finland and Russia and all that stuff.
Is it Finland or Estonia?
What? Her?
Yeah.
Finland.
Oh, right, my bad.
Yeah.
See, I researched.
She has had to put. She has had to
This
put.
brother didn't believe I was going to research.
Nah, he
this
sent me a
one.
text last night and he was like, yo, so I'm going to try and start my research for the topics tonight or tomorrow if I'm not busy with other stuff. So I was like, so that means you're going to research, right? and he was like, do you even know me? Do you even know me? I was like, wait, whoa. I'm just,
No,
I'm just
what-
telling you what, I'm just saying what you said to me. I'm just making sure
No,
you're.
what I
agrees
was,
to
what I
work,
was
baby.
getting at.
I'm very literal sometimes.
Yeah, you too literal.
Yeah, but getting back to the point, the Prime Minister of Finland, Sanna Marin, has had to put out 2 apologies this week. The first one as a result of the fact that a video leaked of her dancing to some.
Was she with her husband?
No, she was with some girlfriend.
No. There's a video of her dancing at a festival,
No.
and she's draped around a guy, and I was wondering if that was her husband.
Is she
No,
even married?
this one
She's
is
married.
this one is the one that was at her house.
Oh, yeah.
And this sparked controversy in Finland, saying that she was exhibiting inappropriate behavior, with her supporters, of course, coming to her defense, saying that girl has the right to partay. Now, the first video got leaked, and this is the sad part, right? Because bloody hell, man, like you invite people into your home, they get the phones out. That's fine, right?
No.
Memories.
No,
but
it's not.
then leaking it, man.
Yeah, that's
It's not
It's
fine.
bad,
and
right?
I'll get to that in a second. But go on.
No, look, I'm a big fan of like just capturing moments, not losing moments by capturing them, but you have to capture moments because the amount of times I think about great times and I go to my phone and I'm like, shit, we didn't capture it because we were too in the moment. Sometimes you need a picture. The amount of times like was somebody who, I don't know, this has happened a couple of times, like people who I've lost, people who have died or whatever, and you go through your phone and you're like, wow, this person was really, really close to me, but like we actually didn't take too many pictures together. Like because every single time we get together, it's just like, So I'm big on capturing the moment, but man, you have to be careful where.
But here's my thing.
Those videos land.
Here's my thing, because I had a really good discussion with my wife about this morning, and she was of the view,
Right.
that as the Prime Minister, you have to be held to a higher standard.
Nah.
And you don't, let me finish, and you don't just get to just party your life away and so on and so forth when you're the Prime Minister. Now, what I said...
She's
what I
36,
said-
bro.
What I said was that maybe that's just how she relaxes and maybe that's what she needs. But the point that I want to make is, as the Prime Minister, what the hell are you doing letting people come into your house with phones? You may have sensitive information in
I'm
your
looking at
house.
this completely different.
Plus, this has already happened to her already, and she has not learned from her previous mistakes.
No, I don't know about all of that, but basically,
Can I tell you? Can I add to
Alright.
it? Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to introduce.
Oh,
the
sorry.
topic,
You
but,
go first. You go first. It's
No,
your
you
podcast.
carry on. You crack on. You crack on. Tell
So
us.
before this, during the COVID pandemic, she went out to party,
Yep.
left her work phone at home,
Yep.
thinking that she was fine to go out to party, and was actually sent a message to say, no, actually, you need to quarantine. She went and hung out with somebody who had COVID, and she believed it was okay because she was double vaxxed. Maybe
Yo,
she
we
probably
all
was. She probably was absolutely fine, but. In this country, when we're complaining about politicians who were having parties when everyone else was locked down,
Hey, yo.
I get it. As the leader of a country,
I ain't about to judge her for that.
as a leader of a
Ain't
country,
nobody in this room about to judge her for that.
no,
Let's be real.
I mean, I'd be a hypocrite. But as a leader of a country, I think that you have to be held to a higher standard. I think with great power comes great responsibility, Spider-Man. And I think that you don't just get to enjoy your life in the same way when you're responsible for everybody else's lives and you have that
Could have been
level
a-
of power.
Could have been our only party she's gone to this year, bro.
Yeah, but she didn't learn from her previous
So that
mistakes.
last one was very funny because what happened was that she was uncontactable for the night. Like she is.
She left her
she's
work
the prime
phone-
minister
she left
of
her
an
work phone.
EU nation with NATO access, and literally no one could get hold of her. The president of the US couldn't get hold of her because she left the fucking work
Yeah.
phone. It's very, very jokes.
I mean, but not crazy, right?
I mean, when you're the Prime Minister,
you could have your phone on and still be unreachable as an elite
I
PM.
do subscribe to the view, to your wife's view, that you should be held to a higher standard. Now, I don't necessarily think that limits you. I don't think you shouldn't be allowed to go out for a night out with your friends. That's a ridiculous standard. We're in the summer. Okay, fine. She does have a border with Russia. She wants to be a little bit more careful. But like, should you not be allowed to have a life? No. But you should be held to a high standard because that's the contract of the job that you sign up to.
Exactly.
And you sign up to a contract. If you're a nurse, you understand that you're going to have unsocial working hours. If you work in investment banking, you have to understand that you're probably going to be working longer days and that going out at night is going to impact your capacity to do the job. If you
your nostrils
are going to get fucked up. If you're a professional footballer, you know that you're probably not going to be allowed to drink and smoke. We all make career decisions, and that impacts our personal life. And as the Prime Minister of the country, as Prime Minister of any country, when you are responsible for other people's life, I do think you are subject to higher standards. But this whole thing about her not being allowed to go out is mad chat. She should be allowed to go
Okay,
out.
so
the problem
when you
is
say all of that,
optics.
hang on a second. When
Sorry.
you say all of that, are you talking about the COVID thing or are you talking about this party?
This party one. I mean, the
so
thing
just to
where
be-
the COVID thing I don't actually care about.
Just
the
to be
phone not
clear.
being able to contact the Prime Minister of a NATO nation is objectively funny.
Just to be
but this
clear.
dancing thing is just trivial.
ridiculous.
Just leave her alone, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Go on.
Now I'm even more confused.
Go on.
Because you're saying now leave her alone. First of all, you said higher standard
Yeah.
and gave a whole speech about if you work in this profession,
Yeah.
you know. So she
You don't have
was
to go out and dance
Yeah,
once
can
or
I-
twice in your life.
So,
innit?
I think I get-
so then what's the relevance of the whole bullshit about higher standards?
I'll answer that.
She was in a private apartment having a party with her close friends.
She's blessed.
Okay. So
The problem is optics.
what's the problem with? I don't understand the,
problem-
link.
the prob- the
if you
problem is-
lead,
I
hang
don't
on a
have
second.
a problem.
If you lead with she needs to hold herself to a high standard, I would relate that more to the story about COVID where she apparently broke the policies. But
No,
that
it's- for
doesn't
me, it
that
was her
doesn't
leaving the
that
phone.
doesn't appear
For
here.
me,
leaving
it
the
was
phone.
her leaving
Okay,
the phone.
fine,
And that
fine,
she
fine,
didn't-
fine.
And that she didn't learn
But it's
from
all,
her previous
but it's
mistake.
all, but it's all like jammed into that same story. My point is,
Oh, go on.
this isn't an example of needing to be at a higher standard, and I wouldn't even link one thing with the other. If she is having a party, I think it was after some sort of like festival, and then she took some people back to her home. If she's having a party, just dancing, you know, everyone's taking a video of themselves dancing or throwing up the gun fingers and the mixed race man squint, right? She should be allowed to do that. And what was really banterful, which was really, really made me laugh, was apparently someone in the video said the Flower Girls.
Yeah.
Right. Now, they're from
Flower
like
Gang,
the
I think.
Nordics, right? So for us, like pagan holidays, midsummer, flower crowns, and all that, they love their flowers. But the rest of the political sphere in Finland were like, yeah, they must be talking about cocaine, innit? She got to do a drug test.
Swear that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
left to do a drug test,
So
innit?
they were saying that she needed
But
to do
here's-
a drug test, which was absolutely absurd.
When I'm talking about higher standards, here's what I mean. You're inviting people into your house as the prime minister of a nation, right? And they've all got their phones. You're telling me that you don't have security to say, hey, leave the phones at the door.
Yeah, everybody, by the way, was verified from a security
No, but
standpoint.
it's totally about optics because the problem is not that for me, the problem is not that she had the party. It's the fact that everybody knows about it and can see it and it undermines her position. That's the problem
But
here.
it shouldn't.
It
The
shouldn't,
big
but it does.
issue here.
I mean, we can talk about what it should and
The
shouldn't
big
do, but it
issue
does.
here is that people have a problem with a prime minister having a party with her girls in a 7-second clip. Let's not move away from the main issue here. She isn't being accused of taking. She's no longer being accused of taking drugs. I'm not sure if she ended up taking a drug test, but
She
the
did.
issue,
She did, and she
and
cleared
she
it.
was clear.
Yeah.
So clearly, it's not a drug issue anymore. The issue is that Finland and some parts of the wider world, and I think you as well, based on your intro, don't believe that because she is a PM, she should have fun ever.
No, that's not what I believe.
So then
I think,
this is
I think-
Bless, right?
No, I think that she should still be held to a higher accountability.
But what does that mean in this context?
In this context, optics. So making sure that those who are at the party do not have phones and there is no photographic or videographic evidence.
But
It
you
just
trust
seems like,
people.
it seems like
But
it
you
just
trust
seems like a
people.
gaffe.
If you know these people, you trust these
No,
people. You're not
it's-
taking
but-
their phones at a private apartment.
Well, she trusted them and look what happened.
Nothing really happened.
The video's got
Yeah, but
leaked,
she's not doing anything wrong in the video,
she's got a
is the
mole.
point.
She's got a mole in her circle.
Okay,
Somebody
and
leaked-
that
somebody
need, and
leaked
that
the
clearly
videos.
needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
But
So
the,
then
but the
that,
issue
that
here,
leads
the
to, that leads to a question of judge of character because if you trust these people
I'm not
and these
having
people
that.
are betraying
Nah,
you.
I'm not
That's a
having
very
that.
high standard.
That's harsh.
But you
That's
but you
harsh.
have to be.
Yeah,
she's-
but I
she's-
mean, it's unfortunately, like you are fundamentally. I think you are right. I don't think it's her fault though. I think like whoever her head of security is should go. Sorry, but you are the prime minister.
Yeah.
No phones.
Yeah,
No
have
offense.
your
It's
damn
not- it shouldn't
party, have
necessarily
your
be
damn
her
party,
job
and
to be thinking of
because
that.
then nobody would know that you
Yeah,
even
yeah,
had
but
a
it's not
party.
necessarily her job to be thinking of that. Okay, it's unfortunate that in her administration, under her management, security isn't that tight, and is that a slight on her? No, but whoever her chief of staff is should probably take an L here, or head of security should be taking an L. Let her dance, man. She wants to go out. Even
That's-
Boris
that's
Johnson
how
gets to
some
go and get
people
fucking
relax.
married at
This
the
is what
Banff
I'm
Convention.
saying.
Right?
But-
Like they can go and do
When he's
that
meant
as
to
well.
be
I don't
running
really
the
care.
country.
I have a quote that I screenshotted because I thought it'd be quite relevant for this. This is from the Guardian, and it said, and it is this same insistence on authenticity that has driven Marin's desire to maintain a normal social life, to her credit and occasional peril. In a 2020 interview with the British Vogue, Marin stated that she just wants to be honest and be myself. I find it much easier. It may be that others have to get to grips with the idea that world leaders can be regular people too. So I
That's
think,
what's up.
Yeah. So for
So
me,
jokes.
this draws.
That's what's up.
Jokes. She's like a soy latte prime minister. That's fucking
For me,
banned.
this is the question is, and this is what I was mulling over. Is she trying to eat her cake and have it, or is she a new breed?
Why'd you say it like that?
Because how can you have your
No,
cake?
why'd you
and
say
then-
it like that?
Because
You
that-
said eat your
said
cake and
wrong
have
way
it.
round.
No. That's the
Have
right
you-
way round.
No,
because
no.
You can't
Whoa,
eat your
whoa,
cake.
whoa.
You can't eat your cake and then have it at the same time. You can have your cake and then eat it.
You said eat your cake and have it.
I did because that's the way it should be.
No.
You cannot have.
Nah,
you
you
can
can't
have
cut-
a
no,
cake
no,
and
no,
then
no,
eat
no,
it.
no,
That
no, you can get
quote
away
does
with a
not
lot
make
in-
sense. It actually angers me.
You
That
can
quote
get
does
away
not
with-
make sense.
This is your YouTube premium moment.
This is, yeah. You can have a cake and then you can eat it. You cannot eat a cake and have it. The fundamental point of this quote is that you cannot have. I'm getting angry now.
I'm not trying to hear this.
You cannot have
logic and
two
reasoning.
things at the same
I'm not
time.
I'm not
So
trying to hear
therefore you-
this balanced, well thought argument.
This is crazy.
It's shit.
This
I,
is
I
wild.
thought a lot about this quote.
You're wrong.
This
No,
quote
no.
angers me.
You're just wrong.
If you
Eat your
eat
cake
a
and have
cake,
it.
you
No,
cannot
no.
have it anymore. If you have a cake, you can still eat it. The point of the quote is saying that
The
you
whole
cannot have
point
two
is that you
things at the
cannot
same
keep
time.
the cake and eat it at the same time.
Listen,
But
if I'm not
that's
allowed
the
to,
point of
if
it.
Why
I'm
would
not
you
allowed
have
to
a cake and
argue-
not eat it?
Listen,
yeah,
if I'm not
he's-
allowed to argue against people saying the word literally, he's not allowed to have this point.
This is
So you
crazy.
need to
What's
lay down
what's
the
wrong
law.
with
Can
people
you?
saying
Yeah,
literally?
no, you're
Because
gonna
they
need to.
often don't mean the word literally.
Oh,
they
right,
mean
they mean figuratively.
We're
It's the
gonna
opposite,
mean.
literally.
We're gonna allow that blip, right?
It's not a blip.
We're gonna allow
It's
that
not a
blip.
blip. You can
right?
have a cake and
Right?
eat it.
That's a blip. We're gonna allow that to ride because
This
you've
is a
been
safe
otherwise.
space. You're here to learn and
yeah,
grow.
you've been
We're here to develop
otherwise
together.
I
a
will
very
say it
valuable
again. I will
guest.
say it with my whole
You've
chest.
been an otherwise very valuable guest, so we will just skip over that. Let's get back to
So
her.
the question is, for me anyway, this is what I was mulling over as to whether she wants to eat her cake and have it. Yeah, I said it. Or whether
Unnecessary.
we're moving
Just beep
into a
that.
new whether we're moving into a new age of politicians where people are less far removed from the actual human existence.
Brother.
Because we have politicians in this country who've grown up in privilege, who've grown up going to schools, who've been groomed for these roles straight up. Whereas this woman has come from working in a bakery, having two mothers, working in a bakery to help ends meet. She objectively knows what it's like to struggle to be a regular person, and she's trying to bring that into her politics. And I think there's a pushback
Yeah,
against
because
that,
people
not only from politicians but from the
Don't
regular person.
necessarily vote for politics anymore, right?
They vote
I
for
don't
personalities.
think people voted for Boris because he was an amazing politician.
No, they vote for
But to the
personalities.
point that Johnny has kind of alluded to as well, there has been egregious behaviour which this doesn't even begin.
Of course, no, it's not. It's not even on the scale. It's
compare
ridiculous.
to.
It's
So
not
I
even
think
worth-
when
it's
we
not even
talk about
newsworthy.
holding our elected prime ministers or politicians to a higher standard, yes, granted, the life that you live, the normal life that you live, ultimately drastically changes when you take on a job like that. Absolutely. But I think had she done something even half of the level of some of the other world leaders, then we could probably make that link a little bit stronger. Hang on, hang on.
Yeah, go.
With a situation like this where a video has been leaked by somebody who she should have been able to trust, absolutely the question can become, maybe her security team needs to be polished up, right? But again, I think when we say she needs to hold herself to a higher standard, I think we're placing too much of the onus on her. Before we then swing it back, she had to apologize. I did say she had to apologize twice in a week. She had to apologize again after a photograph of two topless women
Video.
taken at a party inside her official residence was published on social media.
Sounds lit.
Yeah.
The picture, which has been deleted, first appeared on a TikTok account of some influencer and model, It shows her,
I found the picture.
that model, and another woman, not the Prime Minister. So did I.
Am I the only
Kissing.
person who hasn't seen this?
Yeah.
I'm
Kissing.
the Andrew Tate of this room. I'm
I
the
did-
only
I did my
person who
research.
hasn't seen tits.
Yeah, so the girls were kissing.
You
while-
did, but you can't even. You don't even see boobies. You don't see the booba. They didn't feed the booba
Cool,
at all.
cool. So they were kissing while lifting up their tops with a Finland sign covering the breasts. Sana was forced to say, I think the picture is not appropriate. I apologize for it. Such a picture should not have been taken.
I agree. Such a picture-
long old week.
I agree. Such a picture should not have been taken in her house. She should have confiscated everyone's phones, and then this situation wouldn't have happened. This is what I mean when I say she needs to hold herself and she needs to be held to a higher standard. You're the bloody leader of a whole country. Have your damn party. Just stop freeing up the information and bringing people and bringing snakes into your yard.
I think we need to be easy on her, man. No one's been killed. No, one's committed a crime.
No, because I would say
we
the
need
same
to chill,
thing.
bro.
I would
No
say the
problem
same
with
thing
it.
if this
Yeah,
was
we
a
need
man.
to chill.
I would say the same thing if this was a man.
And for me, this isn't an agenda thing. I think the reason why people are going at her obviously has undertones of misogyny, for sure. But
But you just said it's not a gender thing.
yeah.
So how can you say it's got?
It's not a gender him. Not a gender
You,
thing
you
for him.
said you'd say the same thing to a
right,
man.
right. I thought you were saying.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I thought you
you're
were saying
too
it's not a
obsessed
gender
with
thing.
trying to correct me. Go
I
on.
thought you said it was. You said it's not a gender.
You said
Okay,
you'd
Mr.
say the
Little.
same thing to a man.
Yeah.
I said this for me isn't about misogyny
Okay,
because
fine,
I
fine.
too would say the same thing. But my point is, I think the reason why she is being attacked without a doubt is drenched in misogyny.
Absolutely agree.
But
Absolutely agree.
the point is, this is not a big deal.
It's
And-
it's not only misogyny, it's ageism as well because she's young.
yeah, of course, it's all in there, isn't it? She became prime minister when she was 34 years old. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it kind of makes me look at my life.
Come on, man.
Well, go on.
Right. She's going to make a few mistakes. I don't know what the...
5 years away. Shit.
Yeah, I don't know what the term times are like in Finland or how long she's going to be in role, but she is going to grow into being a politician because she went from a sort of moderately high level politician to obviously the elite position
Suggestion is that
when
she's
her
gonna be
when her
out in a couple
predecessor
years.
had to leave over some union issue.
It was a postal workers issue. Postal workers union, yes. I did my research.
You see how he just corrected me just to say the same thing.
Because you
It's,
made
it's
me
like a
do this.
reflex muscle for this
Made me
geezer.
do this.
I like it.
Unbelievable.
But the suggestion is because then I looked into Finnish politics and I wanted to get a sense of how she is as a prime minister to be able to form a proper opinion on this. The suggestion is that she may be out in a couple of years because she's losing a lot of ground to the more
Cool.
to the right wing.
Cool. As long
they
as,
all- haven't they-
as long as she loses it for the right reasons, so she doesn't lose it for this.
Haven't they
I'm cool.
always had
I don't
like
get.
shitty, unstable coalitions?
Yeah, all
Finland.
across the Nordic.
Yeah.
All across the
Although
Nordics.
actually this coalition is headed up by a lot of women, which is really, really good. Finland is very forward thinking in terms of its I don't want to say allowance, but its position, it's women in power positions.
The only thing I like about Finland beyond Antti Niemi and the greatest radio phone-in in sports
Jari
sports
Litmanen
radio
and-
history. No, the old he's not Finnish, he's Scottish.
Who that?
Oh my days, I'm going to play it to you afterwards. But also they provide when you have a kid, you get a whole box. They give you a box that turns into a cot, and you get a blanket and a couple selected things.
Man,
It's quite
the
a nice
Nordics
country.
just do wonderful things.
Yeah, except the Norwegians. I'm not happy with Norway. They killed a walrus who was licking down boats in the bay.
R.I.P. That.
Yeah, it's called like
Walrus.
Frida or Freya or some shit.
Cool.
And this walrus was just licking down boats. And so
Alright.
rather than move her to sanctuary, they just topped her. So
Hey
fuck
man.
Norway.
Hey man. Quick word on Anthony Joshua. Did you man see the fight?
The major L.
I don't know if it was a major. I don't know if it was a major L.
Fairly major L.
Don't know if it's
Johnny has this habit of just exaggerating everything. Sorry.
I didn't
literally
see
never do
the
that.
fight. I watched the highlights in researching for this.
Yeah, I was watching it in Portugal.
Some man are
Shout
local,
out Cool Bar.
some man are global.
Cheese.
Yeah, man. Look, sometimes you come up against somebody who is gonna bust your ass,
Just a much, much better boxer.
and you hit a brick wall. And I think that's all AJ is guilty of here. He came back way stronger than he was when he initially lost that fight. And there were all these issues with how he was trained and how he was spoken through each round in that first game. And I think there was some repeat of that this time around. But I think we can all agree that Anthony Joshua definitely came out looking better, fighting better. And if that ninth round, and yeah, if it was that ninth round, if that had gone a little bit better, he probably could have snuck a little upset. But then we saw a 10th round comeback a bounce back.
Yeah.
Some Harry Redknapp bounce back ability.
Yeah, pretty mad.
Which essentially,
Sealed the deal.
sealed the deal
Well,
on
it's
old
just
AJ.
levels.
And then AJ came out with a pretty. It was quite sad to
It was
watch,
bleak.
wasn't it?
His
And
corner
a
let him down so
sad
big.
Rant, and I felt for him. He threw his belts out the ring. He left the ring. He came back to the ring. He gave Usyk a little bit of, a little bit of back chat. I would say, backhanded chat, I should say, and then went on a massive rant about the fact that look, I wasn't in boxing for as long as these man. What I have achieved is crazy, given that I was going to go to prison
They should
and I
not.
learned how to box when I was on bail.
I didn't even know that about him.
then
That kind of
bust
ruined
case.
the-
It's mad.
Ruined the percent because I always viewed him as just this nice guy boxer. You know,
That's the
He was-
image that
he
Eddie
is,
Hearn's built.
and I think that's why he's
antithesis for me to Conor McGregor at the time.
speaking to the mic a little bit
Sorry,
more.
I was saying he for me he was the antithesis to the Conor McGregor
Yeah,
syndrome.
and I
at the
think
time.
that's ultimately what we saw crack on Saturday. Like, I think there's only so long you can be who you are not, right? I think in the interviews, you know, when they get into the dark room and then they look at each other, you know, when they get the interviews, the pre-box
Face-to-face.
face-to-face, right? And they're in that dark room and they're talking to each other. I see Anthony Joshua just giving off the most sauce. He gives off the most like barbs and like hot one-liners. And I also kind of just like know from people who know him that like, he's from the ends, isn't it? He's one of us, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't no fucking sweet boy. He's not like, he's rough around the edges. Like, he's streetwise. But to your point, he was, you know, boy next door, 6'7", attractive, like Olympic gold medalist who is now taking over the world. And I just think it gets to a point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. The pressure that he put himself under carrying the sport, the UK, for the UK gets too much. The pressure we can never understand it. I have a big problem with people who aren't elite sports people trying to speak on things as if they were.
I was gonna say.
And we saw a lot of that. But what it was good to see was Eddie Hearn essentially saying, "Nah, this guy doesn't get credit enough for what he does." And I also enjoyed Eddie Hearn saying, "Look, whatever AJ wants to do now, it's all about happiness." And I think that says a lot about where AJ might be in his head. I hope he doesn't retire, because if he retires, what have we got left? One massive bout in heavyweight boxing left before
He won't retire.
before we then wait for a very slow evolution of the next generation. I don't think we should have that. He could still take on Wilder. He could go back and face the likes of Parker. He can go back and face all these other people to slowly build himself up again. The result might not be a rematch with Usyk or a match with Tyson Fury, but maybe, and this is my theory, maybe he might go down the line of just like avoiding them for so long and getting to a point where he can beat them when they're older.
No.
I think the loss to, what was it, Ruiz?
Yeah.
I think that rattled him more than he's willing to admit. I actually thought my controversial here was going to be, not my opinion here was going to be controversial in terms of the fact that personally I think that for most people who haven't operated at that level of passion and that level of determination and drive, you're not going to understand his rant and you're not going to understand his explosion.
Yep.
I think those people need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
personally,
yeah.
Because
RT.
you know, when you are that passionate about something and for whatever reason it doesn't come off the way you want it to, it's difficult to keep your emotions in check.
Yeah.
What he did, it was a bit embarrassing, it was a little bit cringe.
The amount of
but
people who
I
were like-
understand it.
The amount of people who were like, they should have taken the mic off him. You go out and try and take that mic. You go out and try and take that
no,
mic.
see, this is
Can
why-
you
this-
imagine?
They could have
this-
cut the mic.
this is why I
They could have cut
disagree
the
with
Derek
you.
Chisora struggled to get him out of that ring.
But this is where I disagree with you. And you're
Alright.
entirely right, Shao, to say that unless you've been to that point of obsession, but not just obsession, like elite performance
Yeah.
obsession, you've got no idea what the guy's gone through. But his corner should protect him, and that's what the role of a corner is, right? It's not necessarily just Derek Chisora trying to like physically manhandle or grab the mic off him, but there are opportunities to stop him getting back on the mic. And even when he is on the mic, and again, this is where I become one of the dickheads making comments, but like if it's a fighter in my corner, you tell someone to turn the mic off because you know what the guy's doing to his career and to his image. And going back to something you said earlier,
It's boxing, bro.
he's not done. AJ's not done,
No,
right? Eddie Hearn
boxing.
came out.
Let's talk about-
Eddie Hearn came out today and said there's still big fights. There's a name that you didn't mention, is Dillian White. Dillian White's the obvious fight that comes
That's
next.
what, third fight?
It was second professional. They only had one. They only had
did
one
they not
professional. They had
rematch?
one in the amateurs that did in white one. No, because AJ then blew up and had a career
Sorry,
and
for
left
some
it
reason
in
in
white
my
behind.
mind, I thought they played twice.
So that's the first fight. Hearns also said that he wants to make the Wilder fight because AJ could do with the redemption story in the US. He lost in Madison Square Garden. The rematch he won in Saudi Arabia, you can still rebuild his image to a US market by allowing him to fight Wilder in the US. Or you wait further down the line for a Fury fight to come, depending on how Usyk Fury goes when that fight eventually gets made. Like, the point is, there's still, and it sounds fuckery to explain it in these terms, but there's still a product. AJ is still an extremely marketable product.
I don't think this is going to hurt him long term.
No, it won't. But his corner should protect him, and his corner shouldn't protect him because he's talking shit on camera. Right? Maybe they should do that because it might help his image, but because the guy's like burning in pain at that point. Burning in pain. And if you really care about your fighter, you don't let him go through that alone on a mic in front of the world.
Sometimes
Angel's
the best
advocate.
thing you can do for people is allowing them to make their own mistakes.
You do that in change room. This goes back to the Santa Marin
To-
thing
to
where there's
play-
no cameras in the change room. You let him
To
burn
play,
that
to
around
play
people.
Angel's advocate for a second, what if what he did was exactly what he needed to do?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is allow them to get it out in front of the world.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
that
feel-
is as therapeutic as a arm around the shoulder when no one else is watching. Maybe he needed to do that as a reference point for the future to
feel
achieve
like
a
he-
number of different things. Number one, I don't ever want to be in this situation again. I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't like how I looked, right? That
But he's not doing it.
And by the
I
way,
feel like-
Hold
besides
on,
besides like the
you're
actual
two missing an extremely important point. You're both presuming some semblance of rationality in the outburst. This happened because he's excessively punch drunk and
But
extremely concussed. You should not be allowing him near a
But you're
mic
missing the most important
at
thing.
that
But
point.
you're missing the most
He's
important.
medically unsafe to be speaking.
You're
like
missing
that.
the most important thing. You can't say he's medically unsafe.
He is. The guy's so visibly concussed.
Dog,
So
what are you talking?
visibly
Where do you get
concussed.
this shit from? What do you mean visibly
I
concussed?
feel- Look
at it in his
what,
face.
What are
Look
you
at his
talking
eyes
about?
when he's doing
And
his
by the way, the
interviews.
point I was gonna say is
go on.
nobody knows what he was gonna say when he got the mic. So again,
I
he
feel
would have
he's-
probably
I
got
feel
off
he
a
wanted to say
proportion.
this
Yeah, he
for a
probably
long
would have
time.
got a proportion of that speech out anyway before they were able to switch off the mics anyway, right? In sports or in boxing, the sport of boxing, the only thing you have other than your actual skills is your gab, right? So even from an entertainment perspective, why the fuck is Eddie Hearn or the Saudi Arabia people or whomever going to switch off those mics? They're not.
Because you
right?
protect your fight and you let him do it in the press conference once he's
so
had a minute to sit
even,
down.
Even if his team said to the
press
man them
conference is
in the sound room, turn the thing off, they're not turning off shit because boxing is all about the gab, the entertainment, driving up the
man.
marketing. Of course it is.
No, well,
I feel
obviously,
AJ I
it's
feel
a desperate
AJ
man suffering.
I feel AJ has
not-
wanted to
it's
say
not
this,
desperate
but
man
I feel
suffering.
he
It's not
wanted to
that
say this
deep.
for a while. Like I watched him walk out of the ring and people were booing him, jeering him. He gets to the top, looks at people making fun of him, and then he gets to the top. I'm a rapper. How am I not talking into the mic?
Exactly.
He gets to the top of the thing, about to leave, looks at people jeering him, and then turns the
around
fuck
and
back
gi- and
around.
gives it
And
back
he's
in.
you can tell what he said he's wanted to say for a while. Now the
that's
delivery
the
was
point
not.
where you
The
stop and
delivery
go back
wasn't
in the ring.
right. The delivery wasn't right.
I think
but
we,
he need.
I
I
think
feel
we're
he needed to
potentially
get that out.
speculating on way too much. There are many reasons he could have gone in. He maybe didn't want to. Maybe wanted to give more in the form of like congratulations to Usyk, and then when he got there, it ended up being just this weird conversation about skills and power and whatever. But ultimately, my point is the following: I don't think he was heavily concussed. Right? I don't think that he was so in such a bad condition that they had to take extreme measures. But to my point before, like. Derek Chisora struggled to get him out of the ring. That's Derek Chisora struggled to get him out of the ring. Nobody is stopping AJ from doing what he wants to do in that precise situation. Yes, in theory, your team protects you. And if I know you're about to go and fight a whole bunch of bloods, I'm gonna be like, yo, Johnny, yo, please, I can't back you, man. And I'm wearing red, blue. I did that wrong last time. There's only so far I can stop you if you really want to go and do that, innit? Like horse and water after all. But like, I personally think that he had to get it off.
I agree.
He had
Did
to
you
get
man
it
watch
off.
his apology?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was tearing up the next morning.
He was crying. He was crying
Like-
because he very clearly felt remorseful about it. But I think that it
He
was
had to do it.
therapeutic for him as
Yeah,
well.
he had to do it. Look, his legacy is untouched from a boxing perspective, carrying the country on his back. A lot of people are getting fed or get fed on the undercards and around the circus that comes with Anthony Joshua. he has secured untold generational wealth. And from a black man's perspective, mission fucking accomplished for his generations ahead of him. And look, the UK has this really, really weird, what I call like underdog to overrated obsession. You know, they like to get behind you, and then as soon as like you take your first few licks, it's like, yeah, never rated you anyway, mate. You're a shit boxer. I'm not saying that Anthony Joshua's opponents over the course of his career have all been amazing and have all been at their peak, but he never came in as the most amazing boxer in the world. He was just somebody who had a great deal of heart and packed a punch. So hopefully we are able to see that again in the future. I hope that we get to see him versus Wilder. I thought that was going to be the fight before Tyson Fury returned and showed us what he was about. But yeah, to Johnny's point, there's still more fights. So I just hope that he comes back with a little bit more vim and is actually just like enjoying his boxing again. Because
To that conclusion.
yeah, man, that's what it's about at the end of the day. We do this on the podcast, shout out. That's how we. And it was also a really bad week for Nigerians as well, because man like Usman lost his
got
his belt.
kicked to the face.
Yeah, which just
that was buzz.
Niger boys down, bro.
Man like Leon
We had
smashed him
Dammy
up,
in
bro.
Love Island and Ikenna and them, man. You know, just Deji and them, man.
been a bad summer.
Just flying the flag. No, they were doing bits. And then AJ and Usman just fucked the thing, man. It's very upsetting. Yeah, what are we on to next? So, Shaudo,
Yo.
how you been, man?
I'm all right.
What you got cooking, man? What's been going on with you?
Well, you said not to. You know, my problem is that I forget half of the stuff that I do.
Yeah, so we want to talk about a few things. Let's start with how we met. So me and Shaudo knew each other from college. So we've known each other a very, very long time.
Unfortunately.
And we're very
I'm glad
close.
to know. I would just like, at this point, glad to know that you're not the only friend of Rich's who deeply dislikes him.
There's not a friend in my phone book who deeply dislikes me.
There's two sitting next to you.
No. You are not my friends. I don't even know you.
Yeah, just for the listeners at home, they didn't even bring me on here because of my accomplishments. It's just that they just needed a guest. It
No,
was
we don't
like-
need
it
we
was
don't
like,
need
just
guests.
Just bring on.
We don't need guests. Have
bring
you
on
heard
a
us?
mate.
Have
Bring
you
on a
heard us
mate.
do twos up? We don't need guests.
Bring on a
Shit.
mate.
I remember Shao
yeah.
saying that he actually preferred the 2 Up.
Exactly.
episode.
You don't even know fucking. Anyway, yeah, we know each other all the way from college. The streets say, not that Shaudo has ever admitted it, that I inspired him to rap. And if we take it one step further, oh my god.
Oh, live on
Oh
air.
my god! This is the first time he's ever said it. I was actually
No,
gonna
it's
be.
not.
I was actually gonna go on and continue to be really, really like annoying and be like, and he recorded his first 16 in my crib as well, and I really shit mic on EJ2.
I
Remember
remember that,
them
yeah.
days. But yeah, we used to rap together. We've done a lot together. Shaudo is one of the hardest working people that I know. Certainly the hardest working rapper that I know. He is, what is it? Nearly 15 years independent
Yeah.
as a rapper, which means that he went to university, got a degree, and was like, no, actually, I'm gonna sell music to the people direct. And you know, 15 years later, is still able to say that he didn't have to return to that day job. That he has a fully fledged functioning business, which incorporates obviously his music, his merchandise, his foray into manga authoring, and a whole bunch of other things. Johnny, the thing I wanted to bring to your attention as a Tottenham fan.
Yes. So I saw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is my man also has a little spot on the Arsenal All or Nothing
Yes.
Amazon exclusive
Nothing or Nothing.
documentary.
Yes, a little
Which
feature.
was a huge
I
achievement.
was very happy with that.
live on
but there's
Amazon Prime.
But there's a whole
baby.
bunch of things that are going on as well. And I think the first thing we should make sure we don't forget is
Yeah.
that you have a single coming.
See, I would have forgotten that. Yeah, it depends on when the people them are listening, but it will be
Tuesday.
out.
This is coming out
Oh, it's
Tuesday.
coming, oh, well, perfect. It's coming out this Friday then for you people listening on Tuesday, which will be the 2nd of September. Friday,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
2nd of September. It's called Reset. So it's a lot more of a personal single. It's you know, I've been doing a lot of hype stuff recently, and I just wanted to switch it up and make something a bit different. It's inspired by an anime called ReZero, which isn't that good, but it's all right. It's all right. I'd give
I
it
mean,
a watch.
look,
Yeah, I know you don't know anything.
Yeah,
yeah. But my whole
Dragon
thing
Ball
is,
Z for me, that's the extent of it
Yeah,
for me.
same.
I haven't even done a Dragon Ball Z track yet, but I have worked with the voice actor who voices Goku.
I remember that.
Swear
I remember
down.
that. I do remember
Sean
that.
Schemmel. That was incredible for me, by the way. 'Cause,
Holy shit! What was that project?
so I was writing some theme songs for some cartoons, and he was the creative director for one of them, and he was voicing a character for another one. So I got to jump on the phone with him a couple times, chop it up and ask him a couple questions, and it was just, it was incredible.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Sounds sick.
So the new single out on Friday, September 2nd. I'm assuming you can get it from all of the place where you stream your streams.
You can, and the video will be on YouTube.
And you have been awarded or nominated for an award.
Yeah.
Bro, I should just be your PR at this point.
should. I would love that.
Jesus. All right, talk to us about your award.
So,
nomination.
initially I won the Hardest Working Artist Award at the AIM Independent Music Awards. Thank you.
Real recognize real.
And I was longlisted for Best Live Performer Award at the AIM Awards as well. And I'm really hoping that by the time this comes out, the news will be out. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble because it's supposed to be under embargo. But I'm now shortlisted for it.
Hey.
And, this is up against artists like Dave,
you perform better than him.
Thingy Twins. What are they called? Nova Twins as well.
Never heard of them.
They're apparently really, really good. I don't know a lot about them. But Dave is on the list, so that's already something. So, the fact that I'm up against people like that definitely means the booking fee goes up.
Hey, yay.
But yeah, no, I'm just really happy. I feel like I'm at a point in my career where I'm doing the stuff that I'd always dreamed of doing, and
Just racking up millions and millions and millions of views.
well, this is the thing. So I'm working with animated companies such as Mashed. I'm doing the One Jump Man versus Shaggy Ball Z series, which is basically Shaggy from Scooby-Doo as Goku, and
Sick.
Luigi is One Jump Man from One Punch Man.
Sick.
I'm writing the theme, I'm writing the music for that, and I'm having one character speak entirely in English, one character speak in Japanese, and making it all work together.
Who's going to do the Japanese bit?
Me, because I speak Japanese as well.
I was just...
Yeah, you see, segues, the layup,
I was,
the layup.
King.
I was actually trying to take the piss. I was actually way saying Japanese
you
is
set
shit,
me up
mate.
nicely. That was it. That was a good follow through on the ball. And then also I just did a God of War inspired track as well, which Sony Santa Monica saw. They absolutely loved it. It did like 1 million views in a month, which was ridiculous. So yeah, there's a lot of people who've heard my voice, and it's incredible, and it's all nerdy stuff.
Including
that I'm doing.
Tech9.
Yeah, Tekanina is one of my favorite rappers.
Legendary.
Yeah, I can't say he was the inspiration for me rapping. Ludacris was.
I was.
You know what? It was with you. No, you know what
We
it was with you.
established that
I thought we
already.
established
That
You-
premise has been laid.
You made it seem feasible.
But there was only one person who loved
Sinister.
Ludacris as much as for
Sinister.
real before the Abiade days. There's only one other person who enjoyed Ludacris music as much as me at the time, and it was this man.
Yeah. Used to ride around in my car, the red Polo, 1986 Volkswagen Polo with
Picking
house
up
speakers
picking
in the
up
back.
no chicks.
Yeah, no chicks. Nobody
yeah.
with the no power steering that gave me armpit sweat up trying to 3-point turn.
That car was stressed, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
it blew leaves. It
But,
didn't even
yeah, but I wasn't driving it, so I was not like I could be like, upgrade your
No,
thing.
you were
like-
happy to take a lift up and down the road.
100%. How do you feel about and this has got to be like the weirdest story I've read all year. How do you feel about Capitol Records, big Capitol Records, signing the first artificial intelligence rapper FN Mecca,
That was
They're
so
really
joke.
and then dropping him
That was so joke.
because he
Said the
used the
N-word.
N-word and uploaded police brutality pictures.
Mad.
I just kind of feel that at this point they're really trying to do whatever they can to just not give money to black people making music.
Brother, when the AI rapper
Who's very
He's
clearly
using-
Latino as well.
is dissing black people,
Looks like 6ix9ine.
are they really trying to make us like run up on houses? Like, because I was so angry about that shit.
It was
When
the
your
first I heard of it.
AI
It was the first I
rappers
heard of it, yeah.
are racist as well,
Yeah.
dog.
Shows you how much of the internet is racist. If
fam.
that's where the input content comes from.
Yeah.
How do you feel
Fucked
about?
up, like.
I mean, that could be the future though, because the next
could-
AI rapper probably won't be racist, right? Because of the backlash. So
I mean, it could be the future, but I think that look fundamentally, there's rappers who jump on the track and they're like, hey, hey, and they get millions of plays.
mama.
Yeah, and I look at that and I'm like, I am clearly working too hard on my lyrics, but I've got a fan base. I've got people who love what I do. I've never wanted to be a million selling or worldwide.
Yeah, to be fair, that was both of us. We never really
Yeah.
wanted that. And we
I
just
just-
wanted to be stars in our own right.
I just
in
wanted
our
to
own
be.
city.
I just wanted to be happy doing what I do, and to not have to work for somebody else. And right now, God bless, I'm doing that. So long may it continue. And what other people are doing isn't really my business. Yeah, I get what you mean about this nonsense, and it's really annoying because it's like, oh, we've got tax deductible money. What should we do? Should we give it to actual rappers with talent, or should we try and invest in a computer?
Anything we can to not pay people, to not pay the talent, because ultimately you can have an amazing rapper who isn't marketable at all, writing all the lyrics. Obviously finding producers isn't that difficult. You got beat camps, you got writing camps all the time. You marry the two and it is a massively
but that's hard
massively
work.
efficient cost saving exercise
That's hard
for
work.
labels.
It's hard work.
It's not really.
And you also
It's not
have
really
to
hard
pay-
work for labels though.
You also have to pay people royalties, which labels hate doing.
But that's what I'm saying. So for an AI rapper,
Yeah.
you literally you bring it into the ecosystem, you own absolutely everything. There's no risk or no threat of an AI rapper turning around to you in 10 years and being like, give me back my masters, bro.
Well, it might, because Skynet.
What?
Skynet.
Yeah, maybe.
We actually had to manifest the AI, dude. I think we're quite a way off that.
You say this, but I've seen dogs with machine guns on their back.
Tell you what was fucked. I saw a video of a girl who's a graphic
Mechanical dog.
designer, and she'd there was this. So the video starts. It's like this ginger-looking dude who says that AI actors are going to replace real actors in the near future. And the reason I know this, and then like he dissolves away, and this Asian girl comes up, and it goes because that character isn't real, and she explains the steps how she did it. So she got like she
Did the
went
guy look real before it melted?
super real, super real, like genuinely, like you even watching it back, there's no way you can tell that guy's fake. So you know that website that people were doing where like you mash up two things, you do like Ed Sheeran and Harry Maguire or something. No, not quite deep fakes. So that is a part of the process. But like the thing was like fucking Dame Edna Everage riding a surfboard or some shit, and then like the AI thing would produce Dame Edna Everage riding a surfboard. Well, I can't remember what the website was, but that was it. So she started off with that, but I think she started off with like Ed Sheeran and someone else, and then got a face mashup, and then went on to another website that does deep fakes, that like professionalize the face, and then went on another website that does 3D modeling of a 2D face, and then didn't have any software to edit the voice, so just went on like a basic SoundCloud one, changed the pitch, the timbre, and the depth, and then that was the voice. And so it's her speaking into the mic, but it's this ginger dude with a deep voice, genuinely moving every sinew, not like a PC console, but it looks like a genuine human being, and it's driven by AI.
And yet they can't make Saul Goodman and Gus look age appropriate in Better Call Saul.
At the end of the last episode, it's bare
No
jarring.
spoilers.
And also
No.
Aaron Paul looks like
Spoilers. No spoilers.
It's not a spoiler.
You just said Aaron Paul.
You know he's going to be in it at some
No, I
point.
don't, unless you spoil it.
Okay. Well,
Fucking hell.
they make certain people look very old.
Oh my God.
I'm
come
not
on.
saying anything. I'm not saying
Come
anything.
on,
I'm not saying anything.
Jesus.
How
Anyway,
did the
It's a Breaking Bad offshoot. Come on.
how did the All or Nothing thing come about? Because you posted that on your Instagram.
That was
cool to see.
I'm actually super glad you asked that, because that was a really cool story actually. So I was booked to perform at an event called Cambridge Sound and Vision. Big up Adrian. I was performing and also speaking on a panel about independence within music, so on and so forth. And Adrian, the organizer, got in contact and said that they're also having a sync panel where they would have the head of Sky Music and various other sync agents listening to music from the audience, and did I want to submit something, and here are the briefs. So I read through the briefs, submitted 2 tracks that I thought would be relevant, and kind of left it at that. And the thing is, I find that a lot of artists don't really ever attend these events when they're actually super useful. So anyway, they read the briefs out in the auditorium, played a couple tracks, and then played my track, and the woman who was responsible for the All or Nothing brief stopped everything, was like, that was actually perfect, I want your number, I want to talk to you about this track later on. It wasn't even the track that they chose, because then that evening I performed in Oscar Rhythm. She saw that and was like, actually forget everything I said, I want that track. Yeah.
Nice.
And so that's kind of how it happened.
Nice.
So
Nice.
So did you get a bag for it, or did they just?
I secured the bag.
Very good.
I secured the bag.
Is it a nice
Mashallah.
bag? Is it a nice bag for
It's
that kind
nice.
of stuff?
It's- yeah.
Good.
But then they play it for like, I've not watched the documentary yet. It's on the list, but like, how long?
heard
They did
it.
play
They-
it
I
for
saw
like,
the
They
episode.
played it for 20 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Consider
It's a good bag for 20 seconds.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Love it. Man, look, goes without saying, you're my boy. You know, I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
I don't know. You never tell me.
Thank you for raising that point.
That might be right. Thinking of
For
the
someone so
last
literal as well, you know, it's
said-
ironic.
You didn't even know I work on animations until this.
That's
morning.
not true. That's fucking fake news. I didn't know about this mashed stuff you do, right?
Which is the
Like-
animation work.
No,
side.
it's not, because you do all of this other stuff as well, which is also anime. I didn't know the
Sorry
mashed
for being
thing.
too successful.
I'm sorry for having range.
You know what? I am no longer proud of you. Relationship advice.
Yes.
Is back.
I like this part.
Jesus,
We're
yo.
back, baby.
If you missed us while we were away,
Yes.
it's been a long episode. For
Don't
you.
look to Andrew Tate in the meantime.
Yeah.
So, I'm 29 and I work in the creative space, and for much of my life, despite coming from a background that would think of me as an absolute nut for being like this,
Male or female?
I've always been very into non-monogamous relationships.
Oh
Male.
boy.
Put bluntly, I sleep with whoever I want, and when I'm in a relationship, I would usually want this to be open with some conditions.
I'm gonna go for a woman.
Yeah, woman.
I have been in such a relationship for the last 3 years since moving from Europe to the States. It's worked in so many ways, failed in others, but honestly, we reached an agreement this is working for us overall.
They're white.
As I approach my 30th birthday, something
what?
is coming over me a little bit. I am thinking future and wife life and family life, and started to put feelers out with my
curse of
boyfriend as to whether or not he could see us going fully monogamous.
He's what?
Curse of 30.
The feeling I'm getting back, well, let me be clear. The explicit response I'm getting back is probably not. This leaves me in a bit of a predicament, given this is a man I love and want to spend the rest of my life with.
Oh.
How do I get him to think more along my lines, if that's even possible? I cannot even begin to think about starting again from scratch in a more traditional relationship, settling with someone new. On the other hand, being a mother and a wife to somebody who is sleeping around doesn't seem the sexiest or healthiest thing in the world. But what
that's what-
do I do?
Well, you can't eat your cake and have it, first of all.
Haram. Haram.
Spoiler alert.
Harambe.
Spoiler alert. Dick's out for Harambe, apparently. Spoiler alert. You're not. That was the thing.
That was the thing. I
That
got
was
my
the
dick
thing.
out for
Yeah, I'm
Harambe.
glad
I'm
Johnny
not on
gets
Twitter
it.
like you, man.
Glad Johnny gets it.
Yeah. You do not spend enough time online, Rich.
I know.
Yeah.
You're entirely too offline.
I'm
That's
just
why
not on
you
Twitter.
dress.
I'm not
That's
on
why the
Twitter.
dress you way you do.
Twitter's a great. No, I tell you what, Twitter's fun when you get a certain amount of followers, which is a humble brag.
Cool.
But when you start getting responses, Twitter's fun. But
Yo,
yeah,
yo,
spoiler, spoiler alert.
Girl, you're talking to me about your fucking followers. Can you help
Spoiler,
out?
spoiler alert. You're not going to be able to get this guy to commit
Yeah.
if he's already. If you've given him a certain lifestyle, he's not going to commit. There's
You've-
plenty more fish in the sea. I
you've,
know it's an old adage, but you know what? Just move on.
What she's done is she's opened.
Succinct.
What she's done is she's opened up Pandora's dick, and now he is in that ocean, taking a whale's portion of plankton, and he is not willing to go
really
on
precise.
a diet. They're herein, and I'm this is going to be quite a short relationship advice, because if you haven't convinced him already, you're not going to convince him. He's just going to lie to you.
She said, probably not.
Yeah. So, I would,
So-
like, if we look at this in context, and I'm really sorry, this is really harsh, but you are one of many.
No.
And
he will live
to
without
be
you.
fair, he's
And
also,
he will
he's
live
also
without
one,
you.
he's also one of many as well.
Sure.
She could find somebody else, and I think that you have
So,
to establish and build a relationship on a
assume-
shared understanding of what that relationship should be. You
Let's-
can't
From the
just
get-go.
can't change the rules of the game halfway through. You can't
Correct.
be playing poker and then suddenly be like, "Hey, let's play Snap."
Yeah.
Let's
'Cause
assume.
I don't like this game anymore.
Let's assume that yes, they are in an open relationship. She's told us that much. But let's assume that they have been together for 3 years solidly while being open, and everything else that they have had as an accessory has been flings. So yes, what they have is open, but what they have is also a core relationship.
This
I
is,
mean, look, have the discussion with him. Give him an option. Don't
it
just
sounds like they
assume.
have had it, right? Sounds like they have had it, and she has.
The
So,
feeling I'm getting back, well, let me be clear. The explicit response I'm getting back is probably not.
right.
Is that what she's written?
Yes.
Okay, well then, yeah, done it. I mean,
Yeah,
look, if he's
unfortunately.
explicitly, you cannot, as you said, lead a horse to water, and you can't lead a man away from free puss. You know what I mean? Like he's enjoying himself. He's having a good time.
Thanks.
He's doing his thing, and suddenly you want him to commit down to just you. You might be wonderful. I don't know. I've never met you, but I just think that maybe just start a new relationship with somebody else where the shared understanding is we're going to be monogamous, and don't tell him for a while that wasn't
So
game that
let me
you're
get this
playing.
straight. You want her to switch off the love that is manifesting in her heart, like an open tap, and just find someone else.
That's what you got to do. Unless you want to be consistently and continually hurt by a man who is trying his best to live to your standard of life, but very clearly doesn't want to do that. You know, you
Yeah.
want him to be something he's not. And is that really love? Fundamentally, if you're trying to change somebody and make them bend to your will.
Big facts.
She's
To further-
but she's changing from being
Hold on,
open
hold
to
on.
open.
To
So
further-
what's to say that he can't?
Because he won't.
change?
So to further
he's
the
a man.
tap analogy, what's coming out is not clean water. Yeah, it's just damaging water, and this guy is never going to become. This guy is.
I mean, we're
this guy's
we're
never going
kink
to become
shaming here.
sparkling. This guy's never going to become a sparkling water tap.
Hey,
He's defined.
we're kink shaming here. There's a
Oh, we're not kink shaming,
People
but
want
that's
to
who
be
he is.
open relationships. They
Sure.
can be clean water.
Fine. Okay. So then he is clean water. He's never going to be sparkling water. Okay. He is defined the type of water that he is, and the type of water that he is polyamorous.
He's
He's
Buxton
not going to change
water.
his
He's
nature.
not Evian.
He's made it clear enough that he's not going to change his nature for you anyway. So unfortunately, darling, you're just going to take the L. We've all been there. We've all taken an L in a relationship. You have to wear this one. You have to start again and just start the next one on a monogamous basis
Yeah.
if that's what you want. If that's what you want.
Shared understanding and shared values. I think relationships need to have more than just free love for all. I think that when you get into a relationship, you have to check that your values align and that you're both pulling in the right direction. If that direction changes, then unfortunately you might just have to move on to a partner who does share your values. You know, if you get with somebody and you both said, hey, I don't want kids, and then some point down the line you do want kids, but the other person doesn't, it's not fair to force them to have kids just because you want to have kids. Maybe the better thing to do is find someone who does. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a sticky one still. It's a sticky one, but I think you just cut this one. If you can't change him and he won't change, then it's not going to change. So
On the other side of that, I think if you are not in a rush to become a wife and to start a family, and you are absolutely sure that this is the person you really want to be with, and you see there as being any possible cracks in the door or openings that could potentially make him see the positives of closing his relationships, then stick around, right? I think a lot can be done with continued dialogue. I think you are still
Nagging.
young. Sorry?
Nagging.
Yeah. I think at 29 years old, you are still young. And you said, what did you say?
Curse of 30.
The curse of 30 is a real thing. The pressure does begin to set in, especially for women for biological reasons. So I understand your stance there. But you are still young. And if there isn't anything which is, I guess, forcing you to expedite becoming a mother, then yeah, I wouldn't, to my co-host's advice, rush out the door. I would continually give it as much of an effort as you can until that explicit no is an explicit no over more of a longer duration, so you really know what is going on, because it's very difficult to make a transition from one extreme to another extreme.
It is.
So stick around and see if maybe by you just closing off, just you closing off your other relationships and potentially, I guess, starting a bit of competition internally to see if he sees the value and the
I think
virtues
he's
in
just
that.
going to end up being hurt because he's
No.
just
I mean,
he's just
look,
going to
I'm not saying this isn't going to come without some pain, but in order for, sometimes when you're in relationships, in order to change behavior, you kind of have to live it yourself, right? So if you yourself close off your open relationships and you're seeing that this isn't potentially causing any change in your partner, then yes, to the
But
guy's
again, the
points.
question would be: would he just be doing it for her, or would he be doing it because he actually wants to? Because there's
No,
a
he
big
would
difference.
only be doing it for her
Yeah,
if he
but I
decides
don't
to do
think
it.
that's. I don't think that's.
No, sorry, incorrect. He would only be doing it for himself, right? If he decides that he doesn't want to be open anymore, he'd only be doing it for
he
himself.
would be doing it because he feels guilty because she's there not getting.
No, he
any-
has the
any-
choice. He
any
has the choice
community.
to leave as well. But my point is, if she closes off herself to open relationships and potentially allows him to see that this is viable and possible, maybe that's the start of a healthy dialogue. People, ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, in these situations, people can change.
That people
I've
can
seen
change.
loads of people go from open relationships to closed off relationships and be very, very happy, and vice versa. So
To borrow
I don't
Johnny's-
know if the answer to everything is, well, you know, you got what you signed up for. if love is involved and it's a 3-year relationship, obviously that's not the longest time in the world. But if there is love involved, for someone to say that this is like someone that they want to spend the rest of their life with, obviously there's strong feelings. And when we're young, we explore our bodies and we explore sexuality in deeper ways. But then maybe we change our minds when we get a bit older. So if you feel as though by staying around, potentially changing your behavior, opening dialogue, potentially brings some change, then yeah, you don't need to rush out the door.
I think, to borrow Johnny's extravagant use of metaphors for a second, which I really like, it's akin to building a house in the city. And you really liked to live in the city. There was lots of people around. It was exciting, so on and so forth. But now you want to live by the beach and you want to see the sea. And you want to, but you really like this house. So you're trying to move this house to the beach. And maybe you can, brick by brick, move this house to the beach. And it's going to be an arduous and long process. It's going to be very difficult. And you could do it, certainly. But maybe there might just actually be a good yard by the beach as well. And I think that my issue...
I just think this stuff can change. I just think
it can.
this kind of
But I
preference
think
can change.
My issue is because of the type of love that's sold to us via Hollywood and movies, that we almost implicitly believe in the one and that there's nothing else out there, and that we have to throw everything we can at one person and expect them to be everything for us, when first of all, people need to learn to love themselves and to look inwards for love, and then have that enhanced by another person rather than another person filling the gap. And when I think about, long-term relationships, you have to look for different values. And obviously I don't know anything about this person's relationship and I could be completely wrong. But if the relationship is fundamentally founded on having an open relationship and the dynamic works in that medium, and then you completely change one of the core values in this relationship, it could change the entire dynamics of the relationship
For sure.
the worse.
For sure. And look, I think that's sort of phase 2, right? I think how the dynamics of the relationships last beyond that decision to potentially go to closed is probably a bit too further on down the line for a little bit of relationship advice on a podcast. But I think in terms of the immediate options that she has, yeah, you're right. She clearly can just walk, for sure. But I think that that's a pretty cynical way of looking at it, given love being very, very present in this lady's heart.
I think you have to love yourself, first of all.
You can love yourself and stay in a relationship with somebody you love. Leaving doesn't necessarily, or staying in a relationship like that doesn't necessarily mean you don't love yourself.
No, I agree. But I think that fundamentally, it's that they want different things. And she is staying around in the hopes that he will want the same thing as her.
Yeah, which is like most relationships. We've all been in relationships that have had undesirable things, and you stick around in a hope that things change, and right? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and I think that can sometimes be an unhealthy thing to do. I think that it's sometimes better to just say, well, look, this person, we've discussed it, we've tried, this person very clearly doesn't want what I want. I think it's better that I find somebody who does, as much as this is going to hurt. I think that's the more difficult, but that is fundamentally the more loving yourself route, to say, well, look, I need to go and find somebody who wants what I want, rather than forcing somebody to want what I want.
Any additional comments?
No, really. Trying to force someone out of their nature is not a healthy way of maintaining a relationship in any case. And if you guys committed to being polyamorous and that's not a tap that you want to turn on anymore, you've got to turn the tap off. Sorry.
Yeah, I just don't know if anybody ever stays in open relationships all their life. So I think naturally people want to change.
But she is, unfortunately, she's short theta, right? She's concerned about turning 30, and unfortunately the clock runs out quicker for her than it does for him. So if she needs an answer quicker than he does, which it sounds like the case, and he isn't ready to make the decision that she wants, then this open relationship doesn't work for you anymore. It's time to bite a very hard bullet, eat the ice cream, and go out in 4 weeks' time.
Keep your submissions rolling in. We will do our best to give them the justice they deserve. New music to check out. JID, The Never Ending Story, out. Amazing. DJ Khaled, If You Must. There's a pretty decent Jay-Z
Shadow
verse.
Reset.
That's when he shouts at gigs.
And then of course, Shadow single Reset, which is coming out September the 2nd.
Yes.
Make sure you cop that, save that, pre-save it, all of that.
Subscribe and like it.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank
We
you
have
for
hit a unprecedented length on this podcast.
You're going to have fun editing that.
You're editing it.
What? Whoa.
Catch Johnny on Rich Kids Go Broke.
There's Rich Kids, Poor Kids or something like that. I
Whatever.
think. On Channel 5.
Same
That
shit.
that was a mockery. Channel 5. Like, I'm not being funny, but I'm a BBC guy, innit? I'm not Channel
you're
5.
BBC,
I'm not,
are you?
I'm not Channel 5.
You're a BBC guy, are you?
I
Funded and silenced by the Tories, right?
Yes,
It's all
naturally,
coming together.
naturally.
It's all, your story is just fucking up
Naturally,
with everything you say.
I live in an era of censorship. as
Shout
this
out Emily.
podcast.
Shout out Emily Mateless, whatever her name is.
Mateless.
Yeah. You know, we'll be in a couple of weeks. Holla.
Peace.
Peace.